It's like whether or not they're going to approach the game or approach the matchup early and try and get it. Their face as soon as possible, but for Bluefish, that necessarily doesn't play to his advantage there. What do you know about Bluefish?
Bluefish likes Stalker, actually, but, you know, mid lane. Likes a lot of Hell and Chronos. These very laking hyper carries that, you know, if the other lanes...
¿Qué pasó? ¿Explotó? ¿Dónde está? No veo.
Gostaria de agradecer a vocês, todo mundo do Brasil. Go bem, go Brasil! I could not have said it better. I'm going to ask you to say, please, tell us what you like to say. A man of few words, which can mean one thing. He's ready to get this second game underway. Gentlemen, please shake hands. True athletes, off they go. Guys, are you ready for game two? I thought you might be. Let's get this thing rolling with picks and bans. Take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Sean. Here we go, picks and bans time for our second matchup at the Smite World Championship. We have Pain Gaming, OMGB, Pain in the blue, OMG in the red. So, what are you looking for first here, Adonis? You know, from each side, who should it be target banning first?
I think we'll see some pretty standard bans come out. Souls, Jingtons, maybe Chirons if the players aren't super comfortable with it. What does Pain normally like to ban out against you? Is it more target bans or is it typically like meta?
It's typically meta, yeah.
Really?
More like Capri, Soul.
Okay.
Standard meta bit. Yeah.
So they pretty much. So then I have to ask then, right? I mean, have they? And here we go. So Capri comes out, and you pretty much call that one right on the money. This is why we have him here. That's why we pay him the big bucks. Soul on the other side for OMG. Waiting for the next one to come out. What does that Soul ban mean, Adonis, you know, for OMG?
It's going to take specifically away from our Kanjo, who likes to play that aggressive. You know, we said Ullr and Soul are the gods he really likes. And Soul right now is so dominant in lane, you just can't counter-push her unless you're playing a high-pressure support like Kepri, which is banned away, or maybe a Sylvanas. But Sylvanas is pretty risky as well right now. Kind of falls off a little bit, and Xing going to be banned away as well.
Standard bans, right?
Yeah, right now these are all pretty much standard bans. There's no specific target bans, I would say, more or less. So both of these teams are still going to look for their strategy when the first pick comes online.
I'm expecting to see Chiron banned out. I feel like China hasn't had that much experience with it, and it's something they may just not want to deal with. Or maybe they could be looking to pick it. Maybe they've been practicing it pretty heavily here.
I don't know. I would probably.
See, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you do know what you're talking about. Man. Who would have thunk it?
I just say 10 things and one of them will hit, and then I'm just make sure to build myself up with it.
Yeah, build a confidence.
Also, Kairos goes along with Sol and Ullr. They're pretty strong in lane and pretty aggressive.
Yeah, so that's a very good target ban there against our Kanjo.
But it just made sense, though, to ban out Chiron because, like you said, they just don't have as much experience with it. So that was pretty intelligent on their side. You know, you'd rather not deal with something like that. Even if you were here for a couple days, you know, playing with Chiron potentially, you'd rather not. And there goes Giannis.
Did you see Schultz in there? He was so happy that he got that god. He was like cheering, right?
He just loves Giannis. It's like Stalker is his tier and Schützen is Giannis, basically. They're mono god.
There goes Athena for OMG.
So right off the bat, already 2 global gods, a lot of safety both in Giannis and Athena, and another global god on top of that, Thor. Athena, Thor, really good combos for ganks. It's going to make it really difficult for Giannis, even though he has the global ulti, which gives him CC immunity to escape. It's never easy against the Athena and the Thor.
And this is one of Blue Whale's favorite gods as well. I mean, it's the thing he dominates. QG Reapers with. Baylona going to be locked in. That's going to go to Stalker.
We're running that
It's
one all
going to go
weekend.
to Madruga, 100%.
Oh, that's jungle.
Yeah, that's jungle, 100%.
Really?
Madruga loves Baylona.
Okay.
That's kind of fallen off. How does he like putting out high pressure with it? Or is
He
he kind of like
tanky.
Okay.
He just goes with Stalker, just to annoy the other ADC or mid laner. He goes for the engage.
comfortable. Look at Pay. They're so confident right now. You can just see it in their cameras.
Oh, but you know what, man? Sometimes confidence leads to cockiness. They have to be careful about this. Do not sleep. A Circuit pick here for OMG.
Thor solo then?
This is interesting.
Okay. So
Thor solo.
Yeah, that's very aggressive there, Thor solo.
all right, well, this has been locked in. Circuit is there, and I mean, off the top of your head, boys, who do you think is going to take this one? Who do you think also won that draft?
I like Pain Gaming's draft, but OMG, they have a lot of aggression early. So it's kind of going to be like Epsilon Isurus.
Okay.
I'll give that to Pain Gaming. They're really comfortable with all their picks, so I'll give that to Pain.
It's going to be dependent on if the Thor Circuit is going to be able to snowball in the early game. So I'm going to give it to OMGB if they snowball early.
Ooh, okay. I would love to see OMG take this one, but we will see, folks. It's time for the second game. OMG versus Pain Gaming. Casters, take it away.
Thank you very much, Golden Boy, and welcome to the caster. Well, not quite desk this time around, but we're standing here. It's F. Hindu Man, and we're flanking. The very own Zap Man. He did make it to Worlds, so
I got
that
one before. I got something for you. You ready? You ready?
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Not on camera.
The force rep, but not going to happen. So we've got Pain versus taking on OMG, two extravagant regions coming out China, and we're going to be excited about what we're going to see.
I'm excited, but this crowd's kind of quiet right now.
I don't know why.
Can we fix that? Can we fix that?
There we go. That's how we make it happen. As we get right into the game, we're going to follow Geb. We're on the side of Pain and OMG. First of all, first thing I want to talk about, we've got a Circuit and the Thor on the same team. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, actually, this was prevalent in the Chinese region, so I'm not sure if Pain Gaming really did their homework here. It looks like OMG got all their comfort picks. Luo played Medusa a lot.
I'm talking globals, though, right? We've got Thor, we've got Athena on one side, and then we've got Giannis and Neith on the other. So we're going to see the good switch up between the two. Can Athena and Thor make the impact before we see the World Weaver go off in Giannis' rotation is the big call here.
Yeah, you know, I expect to see a lot of action in the solo lane here. All the globals are on the opposite side of the solo lane, so you're going to look for Blue Whale to come in with Serket and try to kill the tier early because Stalker is their impact player.
Speaking of early, right away, the giveaway trigger is going to happen pretty early. You can see at the top left of the screen. When minions have spawned, you're going to be able to go ahead and punch in a code.
When did the minions spawn, Zap?
I have no idea.
That's why you don't make it to World, Zap.
All right,
so that's why you're a Casa.
You know what? We've got 10 seconds. Once we reach 5, ladies and gentlemen, why don't we do a little countdown? We're taking a look. Handball is going to be the code, but you need 5, 4, 3.
The crowd did not follow you.
And there it is. They follow you, Painter Man. Handball. Follow you, I guess. Handball. That's going to go ahead and get your stuff, and we're starting the game off now. Orange buff right away. Payne taking it here.
So no pot coming out here from Stalker either. He's very, very confident on this god. Played it a lot during Payne's regionals to actually qualify here, but they didn't start with the power pot at all. Just going to go for the safety here.
Yeah, it seems like both teams actually got their comfort picks. If you look at both regionals, both these teams played similar comps in every game.
Yeah, I mean, the Thor is a bit slow and so, I want to say, in this solo lane against, you know, the likes of Tyr. It should be rough.
Thor actually has a pretty decent matchup against Tyr because Thor's spin doesn't get interrupted by...
Good point. No knuckle. Yeah. Well, look at you. Look at you and the knowledge.
Interesting move right here. We're going right into the middle lane. After those mid Harpies are being taken, pretty standard for the moment. And OMG will meet up with Payne, but Payne makes it to lane first.
Bit of a talk about China here, though. Bluestone start for the Medusa. Why is that? Is it because of the dot damage afterwards, or is this they're just not up to date with us?
No, to me, I just think Luo is looking to be aggressive, looking to set the pace of the game. He seems like a very confident player. Let's see what he can do.
And Athena Medusa is one of those combos that, you know, we saw first become prevalent because of the ultimate combo. With
as soon as Medusa came out, everyone was like, oh, with Athena, that's got to be insane.
Yeah, I mean, that's the go-to, even on Xbox. I mean, that's the #1 combo that you want to look for in the duo lane. And, you know, when it comes to the Bluestone on Medusa, talk to me a little bit about that as a Hunter player yourself, because it's so easy to poke with that acid spray.
Yeah, before Bluestone was nerfed, it gave 20 physical power. I love that. It allowed me to play very aggressive in lane. It allowed me to bully and really, you know, show off what I can do in lane. But now after it got nerfed, Desto becomes the better item.
Well, we're just going to sit around kind of in this early game. Both teams going to feel each other out a lot at the beginning of the game, just like Epsilon did really in the first one. But once we hit level 5, we probably will see these rotations. Serket going to be looking to get ahead. You're going to try and focus for Chronos here. We talk about Bluefish being the main focal point of the Chinese team. Should Bluefish and Blue Whale be combining to be the
look at
Blues
this.
Brothers?
Yeah, hidden right here. There's no vision. There it is. Just enough. Madrugado decided that he didn't want to wait that long, so he's going to go ahead and get back.
Very interesting to see Bologna try to gank pre-5. What you really want to see is Bologna just look to farm, get level 5, and then look for the play.
I guess it's just in case Thor throws his hammer, because then they can potentially go all in, force the ultimate back in response, potentially. But there's the level 5 in mid lane there for Madrigadao. Did I get that right?
We'll take a look at the left lane now. And there's a double taunt into the hit from the
poke. Good aggression.
Damage coming out of Medusa. Nice. And the Geb shield is going to save the Thor his very own red buff. You want to talk about being aggressive? We mentioned it before.
Yeah.
4-man invade onto red and the purple. Steal the buffs, take them for yourself. OMG looking pretty strong right here. Even still, look at the gold though.
They're looking strong, but talking to QE3Q all week, he's been saying Pain Gaming are the counter-attack team. If they go for the Gold Fury, OMG overextend too much, they could really punish them.
Definitely, and also that Pain Gaming has the Geb, one of the most potent team fight supports here, looking to keep his teammates alive.
It's such a patient game between the two as well. Just so far, Boost being bought by most of them. Tears going back to base there, going to finish off his Warrior Tabby. No teleport online yet for the Tear as well, but he has gone for the Blink, so he's quite happy there. He's stalking in that solo lane.
You know what I really want to see is both games had a Neath, and both games the jungler didn't pressure the Neath. Neath is one of the easiest gods to gank, and with the combination of Serket and Thor, there's no way, from personal experience, that the Neath can get away from a gank.
Exactly, because with the both of them, one of them is going to start the initiation and cause the backflip, right? And the backflip is one of the most easily read abilities out there. You're either going to get hit with the Cobra's Kiss of the wall.
Especially against two high mobility assassins, Thor and Serket.
Yeah.
So
nowhere to use.
Where is Thor going to go, though, Zap? He needs to keep farming still, so he's going to play just like a support now. He's going to follow the jungler around, be with the mid laner, the 3-man unit in the middle lane. Is that what he's looking to do?
Yeah, it looks like it. He's still roaming around looking for plays. Looks like he's just going to double jungle. I wonder when they will put the Thor back in the solo lane and make the Athena come.
My issue is Stalker is now the highest level in the game on his side. There's no one that can really match him apart from Kronos mid lane, but then Kronos is going to have to deal with Giannis anyway, whereas Athena and Thor, they're about equal level. There's nothing too exciting about doing this.
I would love to see the experience graph here and see if this strategy is working out for OMG.
We'll take a look at that right there, and this is really
it's not working.
That's what I was talking about before. It's basically an even game, right? But OMG was trailing by 100 before, and now that we're talking about it, they're trailing by about 200 gold or so. It's really nothing to make this. Big stink about, but that what we're talking about here is with all these rotations with Thor, they're falling a little bit.
Rotations from Thor, and now we're going to see the first blood as Arcanjo is deleted off the map.
And that is how you make this strategy work. If you're going to rotate and lose a little bit of farm, you have to make up for it by being violent and picking up that first blood.
And this is exactly what I was saying. The Neath is just an easy kill for these two assassins.
They're going to have to go, and they can't just sit back and watch this being done here. Here come Pain, Cataclysm going off. Going to hit 3 members. Big look over the top as well, but no fearless connection.
Not quite. Bluefish still making things work. That's the second kill for OMG. Fight still going on. Stalker has a slip HP, and OMG does not. The double for the mid laner. And OMG cleans it up. It's a 3-for-3 down the middle.
Gold Fury still standing though. 4-2 is the tagline there, but nobody's going to be able to do this now.
Yeah, and you can actually start seeing OMG's team comp, right? They go for the AoE CC with into the AoE CC with Kronos, and it does a ton of damage.
I love how you mentioned before.
Para quienes quieren escuchar a nosotros, si pueden ver la partida maravillosamente. Nosotros estamos bien, Rafael está bien, y estamos todos bien. Sigan viendo la partida, aunque se caiga. Chao.
Geb's Cataclysm there was monstrous, and Giannis' follow-up Schultzen in the mid lane. Big portal that turned that one around.
The big thing about the Geb ultimate, it forced Bluefish to use his ultimate, right? And that sends him backwards. We'll take a look at it in just a moment.
I need to see a replay.
Yeah, I mean,
I need to see a replay.
Well, you know what? We'll give it right to you, Hinderman. Here's the side of OMG attacking on the Gold Fury. There's the ultimate that I'm talking about. Kronos' ult to avoid the CC immunity, so when he needs it, it's not there. Toasted. Done.
Split apart with China, though. They didn't know who to call for to focus on. So they all spread out, and in the end, they grouped up. 2 of them went through the double pole, and it allowed them to turn around. Luckily, though, Thor with a big play.
One of the reasons this trade actually went heavily in favor of OMG is that Kronos, their hyper carry, has got 2 kills. And the Kronos ahead is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, I wound up being a 3-for-2 exchange with that. But more importantly, nobody got the Gold Fury on the side of the game.
Aggression onto Akanjo again. He's going to have to backflip away. Good route, though, coming out. And Madru Gadao is going to actually pick that one up.
Looking for more.
Pick with the Eagles rally. Not going to find it.
That's fine. Created space, and Pain's going to be able to be picking up their own buff here.
And that's the surprise factor with me. She had a weave there. Thor didn't pay attention to it, and instant 3/4 of his HP gone.
3/4 of his HP gone. You can see on the right-hand side. The Athena gonna go back to base again. Stalker continuing to farm over here. He's trying to make an impact, but you can see his gold compared to, well, the original solo lane there. There's only around 200 to 300 gold difference between the two and Athena. But hold that thought, left-hand side, Bologna. Roaming around, still looking for something from the jungle.
Yeah, just try to put on pressure. Really, that wasn't going to be a kill on the Medusa. It's sometimes when you're in lane, and I want you to touch on this app, you just want to you want to tell somebody that I'm willing to be aggressive. This is what I'm doing. It's about sending a message.
What really happened there is Zenith was low HP. She didn't want to get zoned out by the Medusa, so she called over for help, said, hey, help me push this lane so I can go back or I can go farm back harpies.
It's not always about getting the kill, and that's one of the fun things about the higher levels as you look at Smite for the jungler. It's not always, when you gank a lane, it's not always about getting the kill, and you can see that the way the people enter the lane. If you enter the lane, sometimes it's about relieving pressure, creating pressure, and then again, sometimes you just want the kill.
Talking about pressure though, Gold Fury is being looked at again by OMG. They're in this area, still swinging around. They're trying to find a pick potentially. Obviously, Geb trying to get in there to ward and clear these out.
I love how Pain adapted so fast. They saw their Neath get dropped instantly by the Thor Circuit combo. Now they have heavy rotations. They're waiting and expecting that kind of gank again.
You want to talk about heavy rotations. OMG has been sitting as a unit. Usually we see the mid, jungle, and support, and there's a nice balance there. Well, you have a Kronos, Thor, and Circuit. There's no balance. That's all. If Ark can land a couple of basics, that's good. We're not going to find it. Bologna does instead. Schultzen with the assist.
Typical Giannis in the right position, the right time to clean up another kill. Once again, it's Pain Gaming with the Geb initiations. The team following him in.
I love the way the Geb is playing. He knows the other team has beats, but his job as support is not to get the stun off with his ultimate, but to blow their beats so Tyr can come and land a good Fearless. Giannis can land a good portal just like that.
This is good work from Pain Gaming here, putting the pressure onto the tier 1 tower. Thor does get out for now, but Tyr's overextended. Stalker, you stood around too long, son. You'll fall down, but so does the tower.
Exactly. Trading the life of a solo laner. He's level 13. We'll take a look. He'll take about 30 seconds out. He's 0-2-3, but he trades it for the first tower of the game. 500 gold in the coffers of Pain.
I expected this game to be close, and it's gonna be the whole time. These teams could go either way the whole way through. And I just feel like OMG, if they keep this up, I think they're going to take this.
This is the problem with OMG's strategy, though. The Thor is falling massively behind.
Good point.
Level 9, the Athena's level.
No Jotuns.
No Jotuns, and I'm not sure what exactly the Thor's going to be able to do the rest of this game.
But if he goes more tanky now, could he potentially just be like a frontline engage for the team?
They might use him as a CC bot, his ult and the 2.
Because if he goes in, then we got Athena to follow up with the taunts to get rid of, because the beads are already in cooldown. Big 3-man taunt sets up for the Medusa potentially.
Exactly. I mean, that's really the key for me. It doesn't really matter what items are online. You're going to be walled off and you're going to get Thor stunned.
Very curious how to see this comp scale into late game.
That's a big part of why the Kronos is here, to help that balance out, right? Thor falls behind a little bit. Late game, Thor becomes more CC oriented anyway. Athena's going to do the same thing. So you have the Kronos here to just, all right, fine. If there's going to be 2 CC bots on my team, I'll do all the damage.
And another thing that OMG needs to look out for is they cannot get initiated on. They are the ones that's supposed to be initiating. They're the ones that are supposed to be aggressive. The Athena needs to be up there looking for taunts, blowing beats, so and Thor can have free reign on the back.
You're completely right as well, because we've seen, they've got the Circuit, they've got a Thor and Athena for engage, and it's Geb the one on the other team that's doing all the initiation.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be happening.
A lot of vision as we just see the Gold Fury. Vision goes the way of Pain Gaming.
Look at the wards in inventory right now. You got Stalker with the Sentry ward, Bologna with one, we've got Schulzen in mid lane as well. Everybody on the team, both sides actually, filling up on wards consistently, and that's kind of what you expect at LAN, right, Zap? They just step it up with ward coverage?
Yeah, usually at this level of play, a lot of players, a lot of roles are designated spots on the map to ward. The ADC or the Hunter would ward the purple buff,
Did
either
you ward?
theirs or the enemies.
Did you used to ward?
I don't ward.
Of course you don't.
We're going to the one-on-one here on the long lane, Medusa versus Neath, but it's just a one-on-one for now. As you can see, a couple of people lurking in the jungle. Neath She's got a little bit of vision.
Bologna, though.
That's why we see the slink back coming out from Pain Gaming's Hunter.
They might be able to go on Miss Medusa, though. She doesn't realize it yet. Took some poke already. There's the dash down, but not going to follow up on that lacerate. Is Bologna choosing against it? But the Athena rotation, look at this, OMG! They're going to go in!
Yeah, this is an all-in right here. Thor ultimate, Athena ultimate. Everybody from OMG is on the left side. Pain Gaming, I'm telling you right now, that was by design. They had the vision. They have the vision. They know everybody's in the left-hand jungle. They forced the full commit to take all the ultimates off the board, and now Pain looking for the
Well, they can go aggressive because Tear on the right-hand side going to get a Tier 1 tower for free. Can't get to the fight, though. But look at this. Bologna still going in against 3. Gets the bludgeon off. Not as much damage as you want, but Schultzen is hitting these unstable vortexes.
Beautifully crafted play. This looked like it came out of a playbook. Pain Gaming has practiced this. As I said, they knew all the vision. They knew everybody was there. There was no secret.
It seems to me that OMG is really rushing their abilities, right? The bead should have been called. The Thor landed while the beads were still active. If you would have waited a half a second longer, that kill would have been guaranteed.
And that all came from just Bologna turning up in lane saying, "Hi, Medusa."
Yep.
And then everybody rotated in, tried to turn it around immediately when nothing happened.
Exactly. And again, you know, it goes back to the last time we saw Bologna in lane, right, where she looked and then decided not to go for the gank. This time she does, makes everybody full commit, sends everybody to the left side so you can get a tower on the right hand side. And now Pain Gaming pushing their luck a little bit here at the goal.
Let's see, because
Ah, explotó. Lo tengo identificado, lo gastaron que pasar una ¿Volvió o no? Oh, explotó. Oye, nunca había apretado tanto F5. ¿La cagó?
Van a vender gemas.
Sí. On that point, Pain has perfect comps off the bat because he's going to go on.
Ah. ¿Cuándo vamos a hacer los codes? Los codes yo creo que después de esta vamos a sortearlo y además vamos a hacer una dinámica acá adentro para que la gente pueda llevarse también.
He was talking to Desk as well about the Bologna jungle, but it's worked this game. 3-0 on 5, made an impact all over the map, showed his face, showed his presence, continued to farm up very, very well as well, and still even extend the lead over a Circuit, who's the one that should be ganking more prevalently and, you know, successfully.
Yeah, I don't think there's any problem with the jungle Bologna, but right now, Schultzen is showing Bluefish the problem with Kronos, or at least in this game, big plays coming out from the mid laner on the side of Pain.
What amazing chain CC there to kill the Kronos. Couldn't even get his ult off
Watch
at all.
Coca. Watch him. He's going to blink over. I can already see that he's looking for the opportunity.
He's looking
to do
for
it
the
on
double fearless.
Will he be able to find it? Because he Geb lining up as well. Very far back position is OMGB for the counter initiation here. They'll have the beads ready for this minion wave coming in. Meanwhile, right inside Athena though, she can push out a little bit here.
Blue Whales
There we
go
go.
ahead and farm, and there's an initiation from Pain, forcing Thor in the air, Athena on the ground, and now OMG is behind enemy lines. Taunt strong, but not strong enough. Medusa's not going to be able to land the ultimate under the tower with the Serket ultimate. Santorsky falls to Stalker, and it's 12-7.
Oh, the burst damage onto Serket again for World Weaver will secure the kill.
Downtown and 5 men pushing onto the mid tower. This is going to be a tier 2 for Pain Gaming. 1,500 gold if they can push this down. But OMG coming with 3 people, just a hair too late.
I love the way that Bologna played that fight. As soon as Medusa used her ult, he immediately counter-ulted, so she couldn't get any follow-up damage after her ultimate.
It was not just for her, though. It's a follow-up on the team, wasn't it? Keep the team out of the fight while they still picked off the Athena, who was stuck in the front line. Really well played by Pain Gaming. They're looking a lot stronger than I expected in this tournament.
Look at this.
A lot
right
stronger.
Bologna trying to hide behind. Not able to, but hello, I've got help!
This is busy.
Chat de Twitch, la gente se vuelve loca, po, weón. Empieza a tirar cosas y weón. Acá hablamos por esto, pienso, ¿no? O no hablamos. O vemos como My God vuelve nuevamente. Pero con su equipo B.
Pick off the Chronos.
Hola, saludo ahí a de
Rico. Because he has full CDR, he also has his big damage item in Book of Thoth. So he's going to be doing a lot of burst damage.
And then next is Pen, right? So it just gets worse from there.
Worse from there.
Giannis is he's an interesting character. We've seen straight damage out of him. We've seen crowd control out of him, and of course the ultimate from Giannis is always fun to look at.
Get out of jail free card.
Pretty much. Geb's gonna go ahead and back to base. We'll take a look at Schultz and.
It's a patient moment in the game, though, because OMG should be the engagers of the team fights for the most part, but they're going to turtle now. And because that's the issue, Pain is the one to
Salud el papi culiado.
Take what we have for now.
Yeah, basically, Pain, this is a little slow part of the game. They're saying, okay, what are we going to get next? What's on the map that we can take next? Okay, Gold Fury's up in a minute and a half. Let's farm as much as we can, back to base, get that extra item to put them that much farther ahead of OMG. And then win the gold.
But that's a big key, though, right? Is because if you make the mistake of engaging now and get them back into it or lose the Gold Fury because you're ahead, you can bring the team back in really quick.
Wilson gets aggressed on, but not a big deal. Beads are going to be strong. And basically here for Pain Gaming, I mean, they're in a situation where all of these small windows are taken. You get a little bit of pressure. You can take in tier 1, it's already gone, so now you need a big fight.
The way OMG can come back into this game is they need to find the picks. The Serket and Thor really need to go to work and look for the Giannis, look for the Neath, at least take him out of the fight.
They look for a pick.
0 damage coming out of
Look at Arcanjo, he didn't panic there at all, he just stood and fought, and now Tyr in the mid lane, dealing with 2, Serket not be able to do much. Only level 13 right now compared to the 16 of Bologna.
And this is what we were worried about, the Thor falling so far behind. The
right.
Athena can't make up the damage that the Thor would have produced if he was a higher level and had more items.
Yeah, I mean, Thor went on Bologna, did maybe 20.
HP 5 far back to back.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, Pain Gaming sieging down the left-hand side of the map. That's going to be a tier 2, but Thor's in the air with an Athena ultimate on him. Stalker doing his own thing on the right side. Serket's not dead, but forced out of the fight regardless. Taunt misses.
Stalker's round the back.
And now Pain Gaming pushes things.
Come in.
Here comes Stalker.
On Medusa once again, keeping him pinned back through space and time.
Sí, de hecho estamos pensando en dar un código así como lo está haciendo la transmisión oficial, de tirarlo así como imagen. Vamos a idear ahí algo entretenido.
Schultzen. So many portals and slows to set up that fight.
Oh, you don't want to go that way. I don't think that was a good idea, my friend.
Not quite. Stun and done. Schultzen picks up 1 more kill. The mid laner for Pain Gaming is insane right now. 6-2-6 is the slash line.
Great situation.
you're not going anywhere. With this double jungle, if you don't get off to the lead, you're not going to be able to, you're on a treadmill at that point. You're not able to really gain any ground.
Yeah, it's a great strategy by OMG, but Pain just had the honest. They had the honest. The only mid god that could get out of that kind of gank.
Yeah. Look at the damage charts, though. There's only Chronos in a sea of blue from Pain Gaming here. Chronos has done what he can, but he's just not had the support. Here we go. Thor's up.
Thor's up.
Where's he going to go?
He's looking defensive right now. There's no way you're going to see a large initiation coming out from the guys on OMG. And
this is very similar to what Epsilon did earlier. Where they just bait them into the fire giant, try and force some skills, try and force an engagement, and now with the Thor ult being down, it's going to cause an issue.
Well, this is a situation. Pain Gaming's taking on the fire giant. OMG, they actually can't do anything about this. So in a situation like this, you have to give the fire giant up for free. What do you do with your time?
You see, if your plan, OMG's plan is to not contest this fire giant, they should have someone split pushing on the other side of the map. Try to get
here we go. The engage attempt is going to steal away. No, Pain do secure the fire giant. Little bit too risky though, Pain. You got to close those angles. Talking about closing the angles.
There's a hit. Stalker picks up one. Madrugado picks up another, but Bluefish, he does take one for his team. That seems to be the story the whole time around. Chronos has been the light in the darkness for OMG. If anything does come up, I think it's going to be on the back of Bluefish.
It would be, but Bluefish now being zoned out by the other man on the other team. Stalker, he's doing work. Poke is good. Rewind comes out from Bluefish. And maybe Stalker could be in trouble here. I'm not sure. Oh no, look at this. Bologna forcing away Circuit. Chronos versus the world. Yeah,
the world wins.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it was an unstable vortex, but close enough, yeah.
Schultzen picks up another one for himself. 7 kills this time around for the mid laner on Pain Gaming. And the Brazilians are looking absolutely on fire.
Really good performance from these boys today. I was surprised at how quickly this went one way. I thought it would be a closer for longer.
Look at Bologna. Look. At man, just absolutely insane right now. Taking the MM down to a sliver of HP while tanking a Titan.
Well, it looks like this could be the end of the game of Pain Gaming. The Brazilian hopefuls are going to probably move on here to the next round. They've guaranteed a day in tomorrow's competition. They're not out of it just yet.
I really want to see teams in the future target this Neath pick. She is easily ganked.
Well, we'll take a look if that happens in the future. This is an exciting game between China and Brazil. Analysts, break it down. Break it down.
Thank you so much, guys. Wow, what a game we saw for a moment there. OMG looked with Pain, and then things just started to slip away, and that was courtesy of Schultzen and Stalker. Very competitive with Pain, and then things just started to slip away, and that was courtesy of Schultzen and Stalker. And he definitely showed up big time. Disgusting.
I mean,
you had
both
called it before.
levels ahead, and then he just dominated that front line and back line.
To somebody and not let him do damage at all. Like at some point he stick to Circa and he almost soloed her, like 100-0.
Yeah, and we saw the Chronos as well becoming Bluefish, one of the main carries on his Chronos. But unfortunately, Stalker just in these late game team fights zoned him out completely, right?
Yeah, he did.
That was incredible stuff. Anatoly, what are your thoughts in regards to this match?
So it really snowballed out of control. So for First Blood specifically, we see the Thor actually rotated over from solo lane, ganking onto the Neath. The Neath had very little opportunity to escape, especially with the Circuit taunt into the ultimate, and she had no way of getting out of that. But on top of the Thor, talking about the Thor a little bit, he started off with Red Pot, and then he transitioned into the support role. He didn't have a good time in the solo lane. When you go Red Pot on the Thor, you're generally trying to win your lane really early on, but he, level 2, he got pushed by the tier and outcleared, and that's not something you want to do as Thor. You want to be able to control the lane, and you want to try to gank middle, and he just never found those opportunities. I think mechanically, he just wasn't there. He had the right idea with the Thor, it just didn't work out for him.
I love the team composition and style that OMG went for. They picked up the Serket Thor, they lane swapped the Thor to kind of like the support double roam with the Serket, and you saw them invading and getting ready early, but
yeah.
I think QE kind of pointed out in pregame that Pain Gaming is so good at counter-engaging that they were able to take that aggression and kind of throw it back on them.
Yeah, they're really used to getting counter-engaged. They know what to do and how to do, and they just did.
They just dominated. Here you go, checking out the stats here, folks. Big takeaways here. Again, Stalker just, playing out of his mind. That tier, there were moments in the game where I was watching, and I don't remember exactly which character it was. I think maybe it was Serket, I'm not entirely certain, where tier just found him and just started wailing at her. And, you just saw the health just drop, like in chunks. And he was just so strong, toward that end point of the game. It's insane how Stalker just approached it with tier. The players have to be cautious of that moving forward.
Yeah, Stalker is just so confident too. He plays basically every time, and he knows how to do and when to do plays with tier, and how much damage he's gonna do.
And we heard him screaming, right? That was him screaming. Even we're kind of backstage, but even through the wall, I mean, he's just going at it.
Yeah, Pain is a very energetic team, just like Fnatic and Prototype.
And top performers of the game here, folks. I think, it's safe to say everyone here played out of their mind. Was also a big fan of Schultz and what he managed to do with Giannis in that matchup. It was very exciting stuff. But it was something I did want to bring up, though, guys. And Anatoly, you're a coach. You're someone who encourages this kind of energy. I would only imagine the hype that came out of Pain Gaming. We were right behind them, and we just hear them screaming and just getting energetic. And how do you feel that just drives these 5 players to victory?
It gets everyone firing on all cylinders. When you have that one person specifically, usually it's actually solo lane for most players, most teams, and that solo laner just screaming out of their mind, making plays, because when the tier was level 19, when the enemy Thor was level 13, so he's making plays, he's screaming, everybody's energetic, they're getting gold furies, and they're just snowballing one objective after the other because of the momentum and because of the energy that they drive.
I think that's a good point, too, talking more about the game and the fact that solo laner, they did the role swap and the lane swap, and that's very good if you can get the kills and find the objectives, but because Pain was so passive and very good at counter-engaging that you just saw OMG, experience-wise, start to fall behind. The Serket was multiple levels behind, the Thor was multiple levels behind, and then when they would engage, they would just immediately get blown up. The strategy is interesting, but if you can't find the early kills, it falls off, and that's, I think, exactly what we saw here.
And we actually got to talk about
this battlefield, just as I shine in the heavens. I bring the light, and I can take it away.
I would actually like to say 57% on mid-harpies too. That's actually another really good. And just speed, right? Like 73% picking up on that speed buff. That's pretty big.
Speed is one of the most, if not the most powerful buff in Smite, because movement speed, you can juke abilities, you can engage on players better, and so stealing away the opponent's speed is super critical. Pain did a fantastic job of that.
Because not only do you shut down the jungler, you also shut down the solo laner who's right beside the mid laner, so it's just a domino effect once you take away the speed. That's the foundation for the jungler and everyone else involved.
Yeah, impressive stuff overall. So Pain Gaming will move on to the next round, the face-off against Epsilon. And this is going to be, I see everyone's face already. You guys already look a little worried.
Pain looked great against OMG. Pain looked phenomenal against OMG. But, you know, Isserus, they looked confident at first, and then it didn't, you know, clearly they played scared.
Yeah.
If Pain going up against Epsilon just needs to make sure they don't play scared. I don't know, do you feel like, they've actually been to a lot of lands, right, QE? So they shouldn't.
They shouldn't, but they always play back. They don't really aggress. They're not an aggressive team. They don't look for early game. And Epsilon is just really dominating during the game and every stage of the game, actually.
Yeah, I think that if they let Epsilon make the plays, there's no way Pain is going to be able to come back.
It'll just be a repeat of them versus.
Exactly, because the first game, actually, they were 5,000 gold ahead with only 1 kill and 1 gold fear. They know how to farm, so if you give them any room, they're going to take your buffs.
Interesting. And then, of course, OMG goes down to face off against Isserus Gaming. That will be our 7th matchup that we see in Smite World Championships. This is do or die for both of these teams. You know, if you had to pick one coming, and we'll of course talk about it later on in the show, but if you had to pick one in the early stage based off of what we know right now with everything, information fresh in our minds, how do you feel about both teams?
You know, OMG looks interesting, but I think Isserus is probably the better team if they are able to basically watch these games back and develop a game plan and recognize that this is the style that China goes. They like to be hyper-aggressive, they like to invade, they're willing to lane swap. I think it's going to go to Isserus, and I think it'll be very similar to Pain Gaming because I think they kind of have a similar style.
Yeah, Isserus definitely played a little bit more safe side compared to if OMG falls into Isserus' trap, then they should be able to take that.
And then another thing, you know, you talked about the aggression, and that certainly did not work in the favor of OMG there. Blue Whale, right? Oftentimes he would just jump right into the action, and then he's dead.
And that's the problem with these like hyper carry lineups that you pick. You pick your Serket in the jungle, but the problem is you have a Thor in the solo who's now 5 levels behind the tier. Who's going to engage? And a lot of times it would be the Thor, Duncan, and the Athena, but then they have to immediately go out. They're forced out. And then that Serket would dive in and then just get immediately blown up, most notably by Schultzen on that Giannis. He was clearly targeting the Serket out. And it's just, when you run these hyper carry assassins, it's very bad in like 5v5 team fights. They're kind of better in like the 3v3 smaller fights, and Pain Gaming didn't allow them to have that.
And they also had the gap to kind of counter
that as well. Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh my god, B also had no peeling, so basically their peeling is killing the opponents as fast as they can, and they couldn't because Gab was there to protect, Belona was there to protect, and Tyr was there to annoy the other players.
One of my favorite plays of that match actually came from the Giannis when he got focused on by 4 gods on lane.
The almost first blood.
The almost first blood, which would have been huge for them had it been any other god, potentially. Giannis, though, just portal, boop, he was gone, man. That was actually pretty cool. And again, it just kind of speaks to how, you know, just knowing the god that you're playing, right? And the comfort level that he has there is just absolutely absurd.
And Schultzen really likes to play safe. We talked about it in the pregame. The Giannis Zhonghui because he's tanking, Giannis because he can just, you know, use his ultimate, get out, you know, immune all CC, and then kind of just portal out. So it's something that he's very comfortable with, and I expect to see banned or picked away from him probably in the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, Giannis has portals every time, and he's really comfortable with playing Giannis. So basically, that was the dream come for Pain Gaming. They're really comfortable with every single
If they could blind pick, do you think they would take that composition?
Maybe not Neve, probably. I mean, maybe a Sol instead of Neve.
Okay.
Interesting stuff. Well, our next matchup will be coming up here in a few, folks, and it's going to be a very exciting one. We have Enemy from North America facing off against Avant-Garde. And so preliminary thoughts on this one before we send it to a break. You know, Enemy, Incon isn't here right now, so we can't rub it in his face, but we will in a little bit.
Later
Don't worry,
on.
folks. Let's talk about these two teams here, Enemy and Avant-Garde. Thoughts going into this one, just simple stuff.
Immediately, Avant is the team that we think are the best international team, and Enemy kind of the weakest North American European team. So if there's going to be an upset in the first round, it's going to come from this game.
All right, so folks, we're going to go ahead and toss it over to the one and only Kelly, who has an interview on hand. Kelly, what's going on?
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. Joining me is Husey, winner of So You Think You Can Cast. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellently, thanks, Kelly. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. So a few weeks ago when we were talking about opening up on a Thursday early on, we didn't really expect to have so many people here come out. And just look at everyone here. Are you guys enjoying the show? So up next, we got Avant-Garde versus Enemy, and you're the Australian expert, so how do you think this match is going to go?
Well, I'm not biased at all, but I think Avant-Garde can definitely take this one. They're the class of the competition in Oceania. They're proven themselves on a land environment, and if they play the right way, they can definitely win.
How do the playstyles differ between Oceania and something like North America or Europe?
Well, Australia likes to base their play style a lot on North America more than Europe. We watch a lot of Twitch streams and things like that, shout-outs to Allied and Incon and all them. And so I expect to see very similar play styles, especially out of the junglers Row and Adjust.
Is there any gods that you want to see in this matchup?
I'd love to see Row play a Wheelix. He loves a Wheelix.
So out of everything that we've seen so far in the Smite World Championship, it's only day one, but we've already seen so much. What's the most exciting thing for you?
All the fans. It's just so exciting to see so many Smite fans here in the crowd and out of the center. And yeah, everyone's so lovely and very kind, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else right now.
So let's make some predictions going up. I know you said that it's going to go to Avant-Garde, but do you think it's going to be a stomp, or do you think it's going to be really close?
I think it'll definitely be really, really close, and Avant will have to play a really good game to take it away from Enemy.
I mean, we've seen Enemy with these like niche picks and very unique gods that we haven't really seen. Do you think Avant-Garde has practiced against them because of that?
They wouldn't have practiced directly against Enemy, but they would have scrimmed some other North America teams just to get used to the play style. And in case Enemy throws some janky stuff at them, they'll be ready for it.
Is there anything you want to say here to the fans or the guys watching on Twitch TV right now?
Thank you guys for coming here, and thank you guys for tuning in. This wouldn't be possible without you.
Thank you guys so much, and we're going to be going into game number 3 right now with the analysts.
Thank you so much, Kelly. All right, so we have the stage is set. Avant-Garde versus Enemy Esports, and you know, we just go ahead and talk about Avant-Garde first. Tell me a little bit about this team. Actually, Anatoly, we'll start with you. Thoughts in regards to Avant-Garde and their capability here at SWC?
Well, they're a very strong, solid team with a lot of chemistry. They haven't changed their roster in about a year, and I think they were 27-1.
It was something like that.
Yeah, they only dropped one game in, like, I think since June or May or something like that. So they're a very strong team in their region, but it's going to be interesting to see how they stack up against Enemy, who came out of kind of nowhere, honestly, in the Super Regionals.
Yeah, and speaking of Enemy, you know, you had made mention before, Adonis, that, you know, Pain Deviand, right?
Yep, Pain Deviand.
Which actually means meatloaf.
Yes.
Okay, which is fantastic. That is, I mean, listen, the Smite community's love for food is amazing. We love bacon.
That's true.
You know, meatloaf. This is awesome.
It's great.
And I feel like I'm truly at home. But you actually call him General Pain because he's the old guard in this team of young players.
Yeah, I actually played with Pain back, you know, like 2.5 years ago, a long time. He's been a top competitive player for quite some time, and he's kind of picked up 3 rookies on his team. That's Salt Machine, Chaos, and his Hunter, his jungler Adjust, and then Vedium like played in the summer, right? So it's like, it's 4 rookies and General Pain who's come here to teach his team how to play at the highest levels of competitive Smite. And this team actually at the beginning of the fall split, I personally thought was going to be one of the worst teams in the league. I said it, and so many people agreed with me, and then they were just kind of average in the split, and then they upset TSM and Envy, and they're here now.
He's really trying to figure this out. You got it, buddy. There you go.
Come on, Pain.
If you believe in yourself, you can accomplish anything. Mickey Mouse taught us that years ago. Okay, does he have it? We actually can commentate this right here.
We're going to break it down. Pain Deviand Going for the two-hand style. Raymond Peckies, thank you.
Oh, way to go to our production team. He did it, folks.
We got it. We figured it out.
All right. You know, how are you supposed to even move forward after that? Okay, so Avant-Garde. Back over to Avant-Garde, though.
Oye, sí, manden fotos para la gente que está, le vamos mandando distintos códigos. Los que aparezcan, si aparecen con algún problema, avísennos y tiramos más, ¿ya? Así que no se preocupen.
There's Avant-Garde, and go ahead and run down the line here. Solo laner for this team, Sporks. You know, a lot can be said about Avant-Garde, but Sporks maybe one of the weaker players on this roster, which is interesting observation there.
He struggled a bit. He actually had a very good regionals, but before that, he was the one that was struggling. So the question is, what Sporks are we going to see here? Because he's matched up against Salt Machine, who's a very good laner. And just making sure you could stay safe in the solo lane is very important. So I do expect to see some pretty safe picks for him, and probably early in the draft.
Yeah, we could definitely see like a Sobek here and Athena coming out of them. A typical Guardian trying to make sure. And Salt Machine will play like a lot of aggressive warriors, so you definitely want to play safe against him.
All right.
Looks like we're struggling again.
Okay. You know, what is it with these guys in the headsets? You know, like they'll get it one day. You know, technology's hard. It's a heck of a thing. All right, and let's talk about Subfloor to Hunter. Known to be more of a passive laner here. What are you expecting, QE, out of Subfloor going into this for the picks and drafts? What do you think is going to be his go-to here?
I expect some hyper carry for a late game god for Subfloor, especially because that he plays really well into the late game.
Okay.
Yeah, he's very good at like laning phase is pretty passive.
Yeah.
But you know, carrying into late games, he likes those hyper carries. A lot of I believe he plays Hui very well. Okay. I know he's experimenting with Chiron when they came here, and this team also very hungry. Kind of like their story is very similar to Isris, and this team actually came here to Atlanta earlier than expected to boot camp, and they've been practicing against top teams like Paradigm. So they've been practicing a lot, and I think they have the experience. Funny enough, though, in the dual lane is that Subfloor is very passive. But the support Biggie, the team captain shot caller, is actually very aggressive.
We'll get to Biggie in a second
okay.
here. I want to talk because I have some special things about Biggie. So let's actually talk about Ro, though, in the jungle. He is the star player for this team. You know, a very adaptable player. Anatoly, let's talk about Ro's potential here and what you're expecting from him.
So what's actually really interesting about Ro was he used to play on North American servers, and he made an account named Dat300 Ping Live. And, you know, coming out of Australia, playing with 300 ping against North Americans who are less than 100 ping, he had one division in rank. So that's an impressive act right there. And he plays anything to like really fit his team and his style. So he'll play like support junglers like the Odins, some Guardians.
The Bolognas as well.
The Bolognas as well, tanky Bologna, and just to set up his team. Anything that'll suit the style of his team, he will play it.
I played at 200 ping and got to Diamond 3, so playing at 300, getting to Diamond 1, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I cannot even imagine. I lag 1 minute and I just complain, you know? That's just all I do. But then again, that's all I ever do when I play video games these days. And then we have in the mid, we have Ochita. So let's talk about this young man here, an Agni player. Loves to play those mobile mids.
He likes mobile mids. He pairs very well with Ro. This is kind of their lane or their synergy that gets them ahead typically, is Ochita sets up for Ro. Ro is the star player. He's the one making the big plays. But Ochita, he's playing the Agnis, he's playing the Noxus, he's playing people with dashes that can also set up for Ro. I'll be interested to see if he's switched his God pull up, because a lot of the meta switched to the Zeus and Zhong kind of near the end of Season 2 with the buffs coming to them and the changes to Zeus. So if he hasn't switched his playstyle, it could be a bad look for him.
All right, and then the final person that we have to talk about, I'm so excited for this one, is Biggie, the support player for Avant-Garde. Now, a careful observation of Biggie, a careful observation is that he kind of looks like a surfer, bro.
He does, and that's just like, you just look at him and you're like, oh, Biggie kind of looks like a surfer.
Like, I expect his call-outs to be like, One's over by the left lane, dude. You know, that's what I immediately think about. I mean, you know, just the long hair. Look at the locks flowing beneath the headset. This guy, I don't even want to talk about his ability in the game. I just want to talk about his hair.
He also does surf, too.
He does surf.
It was something we thought just looking at, like, oh, he looks like a surfer bro. And then he actually surfs. He knows. He's tall, too. Like, this
he
dude
lives
is
the
killing
dream,
it.
dude. He lives the dream. It's amazing. Okay, let's actually talk about his ability. You know, he is the team captain and shot caller for this squad. Thoughts in regards to this guy? I mean, you know, this is a huge opportunity for them here. If they can knock out a North American team in Enemy, I mean, could we potentially see this happen? Is this a reality? We've been kind of teasing it for each matchup, but this one seems more likely than any, in my opinion.
This is, so I have some insight because I was actually able to watch some of their scrims when they were here earlier against Paradigm. And the first scrims they ever played were atrociously bad. Like, they played like Isserus did against Epsilon. They were super scared. I haven't seen any recently. I talked to Ro, though. He seems a lot more confident going in. So if they play scared, they're playing to lose. If they've broken out of their shell, this game is going to be close.
That's kind of been the Anatoly. That's the tone of this tournament, right? I mean, we saw it in the beginning with Isserus, right? Don't play scared, play your game. And then they play scared, right? You know, so Anatoly, do you feel like echo those same sentiments?
I mean, coming off those scrims, they also managed to beat games off of denial in those scrims. So maybe that gave them enough confidence to want to play a little bit more their style. And if they can find their early momentum, then they can probably roll with it against Enemy. But then again, Enemy is also really good counter-aggression. They have really long average games, something along lines of like 35-plus minute average.
They were
games.
like 4 or 5 minutes, you know, average game time longer than anyone else in the Pro League.
Wow. Well, speaking of their opponents, let's actually go ahead and introduce you guys to Enemy Esports.
Enemy. Assault machine. Adjust. Chaos. Pandemion. Video.
And there were Enemy Esports folks. So a great story with this squad, right? We touched on it a little bit, but you have some rookie players coming into this who've made quite a splash. They're here at Smite World Championships. Big opportunity for them to not only you know, take a game and move on to the next round, but just overall this opportunity to be here. It must be pretty absurd.
I mean, Enemy didn't expect to be here. Like, honestly, they barely slipped in Super Regionals. They were the 5th ranked team. Everyone was counting them out. You know, outside of themselves, they were the only team that felt that they could, you know, find a win over TSM and then find a win over Envy. This team plays really good at LAN, too, which is something that not a lot of teams can say. A lot of teams will either play their game or play down. This team, so strong at LAN.
So let's actually start breaking down these players first with Vedium, the Hunter, and QE. This is going to be for you. You know, how do you feel about Vedium in this match against Avant-Garde? Do you think that he's the star player for this team, right? So you're looking for him to be the superstar, the guy who makes the plays and, you know, lives up to that title?
I think Vedium plays really well in team fights. He knows how to position himself and knows when to do damage. He plays a really good RAM, by the way. His RAM is just amazing.
Wow. And then, of course, we have Chaos in the mid. You know, this is the kind of guy that you're going to see shine in the team fights as well.
He's kind of like, him and Ochita are kind of the same thing. They're not going to go crazy and carry the game. They're not, you know, going to play bad and feed. They're just going to be there. They're always going to be in position. They're always going to be doing the damage they need, typically ending the games with, you know, the highest average damage on their team because they just position themselves so well and play off of those team fights and those 3v3 and bigger team fight scenarios.
Yeah, so he'll be leaning more towards the Jean Kui for that specific.
I expect so.
And then we have Adjust in the jungle. So we did highlight jungle play quite a bit. You know, we did speak very well about the jungler for Avant-Garde. Anatoly, your experience with Adjust, you know, enjoys playing those hyper assassins. What do you think he's going to be rolling with this time?
So his favorite go-to god is definitely Basta, when he could just jump in the back line, get out, do his damage, bait a lot of cooldowns, and then reset, and then his team will have that kind of advantage going forward with all the cooldowns down.
Keep in mind, though, I mean, he is going to be facing off against Ro, who is the star player for Avant-Garde. can adjust? Does he need to be better than Roe, or does he simply need to stop Roe?
I think he just needs to stop Roe and make sure they can't go crazy, because the side lanes coming out of Enemy, I think, are just at least they're just better, I think, coming into this. Vedium, you know, this new generation hunter that's making a name for himself at Smite Worlds for his first season in the Pro League. And then over on the other hand, Salt Machine, phenomenal laner. He was just a high-level ranked player. He had never played competitively, joins this team, and really can shut you down in the 1v1, which is very good matchup against Sporks, who kind of struggles in lane and then shines in team fights. So right now, I think it is about making sure Roe doesn't go crazy.
I just want to say Salt Machine is probably the best name ever. You know, it's so good. Salt Machine, come on. You know, who would have thought of that? And then we have the support. General Payne, the veteran of this squad, someone who you have very high expectations for in this competition. I guess, you know, looking at this, right, you have these young players here competing for a lot of money and that title of being the Smite World Champion. You know, there was kind of a story last year with Cog Red where they were kind of the young players, you know, needing to adapt to this scenario. Do you feel like Enemy has that right now? Has that same situation?
I think the best thing with Enemy is they don't have any weight on their shoulders. Like, no, once again, I and everyone else is kind of counting them out. They're saying it's going to be Fnatic, Paradigm, Epsilon, Cloud9 in the Final Four. We're all counting them out. But everyone's been counting out Enemy, and they keep exceeding expectations.
Huey, what about you? How do you feel about the squad?
I think Enemy can definitely be on top 4, but right now I feel like EU teams and C9 are probably going to take the top 4, but they can really upset somebody, yes.
It's going to be interesting to see how this game plays out, of course, folks. But it is almost going to start. We actually have Sean down on the floor with our 2 players on each side. Sean, what's going on, brother?
We are here on the stage by a man who, there's been a lot made about your hair. How do you feel about that, Biggie?
I think it's a bit overhyped. I haven't really done much, just let it grow naturally.
Guys, what do we think about Biggie's hair? You've got some fans and some support. How does that feel, standing on the stage here in Atlanta, Smite World Championship?
It's kind of crazy just to come from, you know, a casual Smite player in Australia, you know, watching, you know, people like Payne and stuff play and learning how they play. To be here, I don't know, it still hasn't sunk in, I don't think.
Now, some people were talking about you playing before with 300 ping and already working through. Can you talk about, like, I mean, I guess it was a while ago, but that must have been a pretty arduous task for you.
Yeah, I guess we didn't know any different. We kind of queued, you know, you get 250, 300 ping, and then, but the game was, you know, so, I don't know, just so addicting that you'd come back and keep going. And then, you know, the day they brought out OC, so it was like, wow, you know, you can play this game without delay and without lag, like, that's nice, so.
It is a better experience. Now, on the other side here, we have Payne Dibiande. How are you doing, sir? Pretty good. A lot of support here?
Hell yeah, and a master race.
Let's go! Now, I'm going to have to tell you that there was a little bit of humor at your expense when you were having some trouble with your headphones earlier. Did you hear about that? Have you heard about that? Do you want to know about that?
I don't want to know about that, no.
Okay, guys, are we ready for the third of the day? Are you and your team ready, Biggie?
We're ready. We're here and ready.
Here and ready. Yourself?
We're ready to destroy that.
Destroy. Fighting words are here. Gentlemen, shake hands. And a hug. Come on, guys. If that's not what Smite's about, then what is? Guys, the last question. Are you all ready? You ready to get into this? You guys are absolutely fantastic, and I can tell you this will be a fantastic matchup. Let's get into the picks and bans.
What a gentle that was, right? What a fantastic embrace.
It looked so sweet.
It looked amazing.
There's probably a lot of tension there. Like we're gonna. He probably like whispered into each other's ears.
Yeah,
like we're gonna
came into
stomp
him
you.
closer. He's like, "We're gonna destroy you," and it's like, "Whoa, man, you know, relax,
calm down, bro."
Guys, before this kicks off, the picks and bans here, right off the cuff, lightning round. Who do you think's gonna take it?
I love Avant, but Enemy.
I gotta give it to Enemy.
Enemy as well, but I really would like to see Avant winning.
I'm going for my surfer bro. We're going for Avant-Garde. All right, here we go. It gets locked in already. They're just pretty much running through this one. Serket gets taken out as well just now, and waiting for this next one, Kepri. So, yeah, I mean, so far, pretty much just standard.
These are pretty meta. I like taking Serket away, because that's just 2 gods. We're Bastet and Serket. And Bastet really isn't considered meta. He plays phenomenally on it, but teams are typically more scared of Serket. First Merc ban of the tournament. And Mercury, you know, a lot of people have been talking, people are thinking it's coming this tournament. This is going to be a big pick. Banned away immediately. Soul was left open, though, and first Soul of the tournament going to be locked in. That's going to subfloor.
I mean, like, if they're going to go ahead and ban Mercury, which everyone believes that it is going to be the star pick of this tournament, and you leave Soul open, you have to be able to put a lot of pressure on her early. And when you give up Soul, you're going to take Athena for Pain de Beyond, who is very comfortable. That's probably, like, his best go-to god, on top of the very aggressive Bellona for Salt Machine. So I'm liking Enemy's comp, the fact that they gave away Soul anyway.
The comfort picks for Enemy right now are definitely where it's at.
They feel a lot better about this one here. Athena gets locked in.
We're going to see some Formentowns out of Pain again.
Oh, yeah. Pain actually is very good at finding openings when teams are grouped up and finding massive taunts, and his team, you know, following up. Sometimes, though, he's a little over aggressive with it, even with it. Teams like, come on, Pain, we don't have any ability. We're trying to back off. We heard that at Super Regionals.
See, in Canada, there's no ham. There's no going ham. There's only going meatloaf.
Going meatloaf. There's Guan Yu. Gets locked up there, and Thor, okay. So far, you know, looking good here for Avant-Garde. I mean, they're getting good picks, but do you feel like they're potentially playing into Enemy's hand?
Maybe, but, you know, we kind of saw it with OMG and Pain, where Pain drafted that Athena Bellona, which is very good counter-engage, and that's what an Enemy excels at. So that it's likely to see that's what they're going for, and it looks like Neith's being highlighted for Vedium, just to counter the aggression from Soul in that duo lane.
Yeah, Neith's pretty good playing against Soul, because Soul just pushes really hard, and Neith can just counter that.
Is that your favorite matchup for that?
Yeah, probably Neith, or Karan. I like to see Karan.
Yeah, those are 2 very safe hunters that have a lot of sustain, and, well, actually, Neith will be able to keep up with the push from Soul, so that's a very good safe pick there. We do have the Sobek ban from Enemy. The Guan Yu is a little bit of a flex pick. It could have went support, it could have went Soul lane, so Sobek was a safe ban there. And on top of that, we do have the Zeus ban from Avant-Garde.
Oh, please that be Agni. Yes.
Agni gets picked up. You're happy about that one?
I'm pretty happy. Back in NA, I used to play only Agni. So yeah.
It was like the whole, it's like QE3Q, oh, he's going to pick Agni. And no one wanted to ban it. Just let him play it.
Just let me play it.
Because he's on 200 ping. It's like he's got to have the big circles. But Chaos actually, this is one of his favorite gods, and it's very strong for setting up. You can already see a lot of AoE coming out from Enemy.
Geb gets picked up. Also got to note the Zeus and Sobek bans coming out as well.
Zhang Kuei still up. We could see Avant go Zhang on Ochita here. And, you know, the Soul more than likely going to subfloor.
Yeah, and on top of that, you do, if the Geb does get locked in, Geb complementing the Zhang Kui, it's going to be very difficult to lock him down. So very curious to see what this mid lane is going to be. Unless it's going to be maybe a mid Soul and a different physical hunter. No, it's going to be the Zhang Kui mid.
Like I said, I say like 10 things, one of them's going to stick.
Yeah, good job, buddy. You know, believe in yourself, you can accomplish anything. All right, Zhang Kui gets locked in, and the Hunbots comes in for that final pick, potentially. Yes, indeed. And that is going to be it. Preliminary thoughts. Who do you think came out on top in this draft?
I think these team comps are pretty even.
All right. Both of you guys feel the same way?
Yeah, Enemy definitely got a little bit better on this side.
I'll give it to Enemy as well, just because Agni. I love Agni.
All right, folks. So here we go, folks. It is time for Avant-Garde versus Enemy. Casters, take it away.
Welcome, Smite fans, to the 3rd game of the Smite World Championship, this one between Enemy Esports and Avant-Garde. I'm Husey. Joining me on the commentary desk is DM Brandon and Zapman.
Think you got some fans.
Yeah. Turn up.
So I've had the privilege of seeing Avant play before. I've had the privilege of watching Enemy play before, and I think this is a jungle matchup. Straight up, it's going to be Adjust versus Row, and Thor versus Hunbots has spelled a lot so far for this split.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like both teams, again, got their comfort picks. I know Chaos loves Agni. I know Adjust. That's
Daysology.
Yeah, Adjust. He loves Hunbots, so let's see what they could do.
That's why they're here, right? I mean, like, Adjust, that one Hunbots ult on Envy brought them to this land. Like, that was the real key play. And if I had a best of one to go up, I'd be going to my go-to gods, and I think Hunbots was the right call.
Interesting to see Sobek banned by enemy. They've definitely done their research on Avant-Garde, knowing that's one of their favorite picks.
I mean, Biggie Sobek was like one of my breakout points for all of the Australian games. Biggie and Rowe are my players to look at here from Avant-Garde, jungle and support. Across the way, it's the same thing. It's a Just and Pain de Beyond.
Heading into this one, we could see a 5-man grouping from enemy, very aggressive, already in Avant's jungle, placing down the wards to get the timer on that speed buff.
Shoutouts to Boots meta, by the way. Is that 7 pairs of boots on the board?
Very nice.
Like it. 30 seconds in, it looks like we have the one ward. I don't think we're going to see too much aggression, but they could back here. I like this ward. They should be able to block out the right side.
What I really want to see is what the Avant-Garde is going to do against the Agni. Agni is very weak in the early game and tends to get pressured, so I want to see Avant-Garde, what kind of pressure can they put out?
No dashes. No dashes. Dash will kill him at this stage of the game. He's got to be very, very careful, and it's going to be hard for them to deal with this Zhang Kui, especially with Rose Thor coming around.
Yeah, Rowe went an early red pot there, so definitely expect to see early aggression out of the boys from Australia.
Yeah, no red pots coming out from enemy at all. Just the one. We got a blink on Gab very early.
That just speaks to Biggie's playstyle. He's a very aggressive support, looking to set up for his team rather than farming and getting to late game.
So, starting off strong. It looks like pretty close to a perfect pull here. And yeah, that's pretty much flawless. One auto attack's definitely not going to hurt him. Ochita should get that health by the time he gets back to lane.
It's very interesting to see Ochita play a Zhang Kui. Usually he likes to play something with a couple of escapes, like an Agni. He even likes Isis a lot, but to see him on Zhang Kui getting in the middle of those team fights is really going to be an interesting experience.
I think one thing good about the Zhang Kui pick is when the Athena dashes in, Zhang Kui has the instant stun, so Athena can't get a taunt.
Sorry about that. The junglers killed the blue buffs at the same exact time. Like, I can't, but that speaks to my soul. It speaks to my soul. I love it. Looks like right side gonna go to red, left side gonna go to blue, so enemy taking the more aggressive and advantageous route to start the game.
The interesting matchup in this one will be in the solo lane, Sporks versus Salt Machine. Salt Machine, a noted lane dominant. Solo laner, Sporks, not as much.
You know, one of the big things there too is that Adjust was able to get the right side camp, which allows Chaos to dash the wave and guarantee first wave clear. This is gonna spell the entire early game advantage for enemy.
Yeah, again, I'm a little surprised that Avant-Garde didn't go and contest those right harpies and just let the Agni get it for free.
Sporks, you'll notice, has just used his heal. He has a level in everything right now, which means he's going to be a little bit weaker than normally Guan would like at this point. He needs to get to level 4 to get that level 2 Tallow Assault to keep pace with Bologna.
Expect to see Rogue gank a lane at level 5, either the duo or the solo. If Sporks is feeling a lot of pressure, it'll be that side of the map.
Salt Machine much more aggressive than I think we've seen him, but maybe not a great call. Took some damage there off the swing of the bludgeon, and it swings back in favor of Sporks, though he will lose some gold here.
Yeah, I mean, Guan Yu's not meant to win this lane. He's really just meant to get as much farm as he can, come in the mid-game, spam those heals, and win the team fights.
This is strange. Sticking up pretty strong. He's going to take a lot of damage for maybe not a ton of gold. Probably can't get too aggressive. The gold that he gained here is going to be lost most likely on the next wave with that monopull.
Looking at the wards that enemy has placed around the mid lane, they're going to be able to spot out Rowe when he goes up into his ultimate.
Left side, we're seeing the subfloor getting pushed back pretty far, having some trouble with the Neath. This was something that I think we saw a lot of in regionals. People get Soul, enemy team counterpicks Neath. Is that
yeah, Neath is very safe pick. She has an insane clear, and she probably saw that Geb was picked up. They don't really have a lot of wave clear, just the Soul, but Athena and Neath can out-clear by a mile.
Vishin was the first one to bring us the Neath kind of counter to Soul during Super Regionals against Snoopy of TSM.
Oh, damage coming through. Shield will negate most of this. He rolls out. He's going to use a fair chunk of mana here, but they shouldn't lose too much control. Subfloor should be able to push this out pretty quickly.
Both mid laners and jungle spotting each other backing at almost exactly the same time, so both these side lanes are going to be safe for the next couple of seconds.
Yeah, but this is the time all the wards run out, right? I really want to see the Thor really go to the Neath and try to pressure this Neath out because they keep pushing up in the lane anyway.
Spork's in some trouble. This is going to spell teleport. I mean, almost always will.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, he has to. Otherwise, he's going to lose way too much mana. On the bottom side, actives from Guan Yu. He's a little bit late on this. He hasn't bought it yet.
Rowe looking like he's going up into that Thor ultimate. He's up in the air. He's looking for Vishium, crashing down onto the 80 carry of Vishium. Down comes Pain Beyond's ult. Backflip from Vishium, and he gets out alive. And Subfloor in some trouble.
Where's Biggie? He backed off. This might be land nerves. This is their first time at the World Championships, so they don't get the kill. Adjust is here. First blood going to enemy.
Subfloor taken down there. Rowe and Biggie still in the area. There's the Neath ultimate. Rowe in some trouble. Agni bombs come down as Chaos is in the area. Biggie, not level 5 yet, doesn't have the Cataclysm. He should fall down, and Chaos gets another.
But Ochita's here. The demons have been recalled. They're just trying to get away. He's outside the range. range. Now they're trying for it again. Rowe teleporting, going for it, just gonna find a return kill. 2-1 still in favor of enemy.
But Pain and Chaos are chasing down Rowe. There's the dash and the stun. Rowe goes down. Chaos with 2 kills. Enemy up 3-1.
And you go back to this fight, a lot of that had to do with Biggie. He wasn't up in the front line. Him and Subflora were on different pages, and going back to watch that replay is gonna hurt.
Yeah, they weren't able to chain their CC there effectively. Neath got her backflip off after they got all their damage off and couldn't kill it.
Biggie is noted for being a very aggressive support, but not terribly great in the farm department. He wasn't level 5 for that fight, so he didn't have his Cataclysm available.
Oh, Sheeta's in a lot of trouble. I think he was forced to beats there. Yeah, that's a 3-minute swing.
It's dangerous because the Agni's the one getting these kills too, and he's notoriously supposed to be slow in the beginning of the game.
Did Salt Machine steal Sporks' blue?
He might have. It looked like he might have. Can we check out the right side here?
He did.
Yeah, he got it. Sporks, though, he might have an opportunity. No. He doesn't have his dash. Not quick enough. It's Boots 3 versus Boots 2.
Rowe is in the area, but Adjust knows he's here as Rowe walked over that red ward. So Adjust is going to start at this blue. Oh, Rowe's in the air. He's looking for something here.
Oh, no.
That's a wasted ultimate.
He's going to be forced to retreat on this one. Salt Machine coming around. They're chasing Sporks. He's very low. Adjust. Jump up in a few seconds. Doesn't need it. Blinks in. One more hit. Going to use the ult and get another enemy up 4-1.
Pain Deviant chasing down a cheetah. There goes the Neat ultimate. A cheetah stun. 2 bombs land down onto him. But he's a jungle. He's just going to shrug that one off.
Going into the jungle here. Going for the steal. Forcing out an ultimate, but this might be a good turn. Rowe quick enough on the draw. Shockwave gonna do some, but not a lot of damage. Biggie taking some. The demons once again recalled.
Cheetah taking a lot of damage here. So is Adjust, however. Cheetah falls down, but so does Adjust. Another kill to Rowe. Over the wall is Salt Machine with the Eagles rally. Rowe gets out alive. Subflora is here with Soul.
Got him, Salt Machine. Not a great way out of this, but he has a lot of health and a lot of tankiness, but he's getting it stripped away. Tallow Assault doing damage non-stop. Salt Machine's trying to get away.
Sporks looking for the kill. Dashes through. Subfloor switches target. He's trusting his solo lane to get this one. Bludgeon comes down onto Subfloor. There is the disarm from Salt Machine, but Subfloor gets the kill.
The whole time, though, Bisham is getting solo lane experience over in the duo. He has no one to help him stop him. That was incredible. But let's go to the Intel replay. I want to check out exactly how this went down for the first couple kills, and a lot of this has to do with the rotation from the mid lane.
Chaos able to get over to the duo lane before Ochita, actually, and we see Achus pick up the kill onto Subfloor, but now Chaos perfect rotations, dropping the bombs down. Biggie, not level 5, unable to get away, falls down very quickly to an auto attack.
And that Path of Flames to cut the entire path off so strong, he then gets out of the demon so he can go back into this fight and shut down even more. Now, Rowe does get a kill here, but they're going to trade it off because Chaos knows exactly where he's going.
Was that worth for Avant to get a kill there, but to pay for it with another one?
No, definitely not. Definitely not because the Agni is the one that got the kill. Agni is supposed to start slow. You need to pressure him because his late game is probably one of the best out of all mages.
Maybe it was a psychological thing, though, knowing that they could take a kill away from enemy. They didn't want to, you know, they saw Isurus Gaming go up against Epsilon at the start where they didn't get any kills. And, you know, this is a much more competitive match.
So again, guys, giveaway trigger, first team to 10 kills. Enemy well over halfway there at just the 7-minute mark.
We can see the left-hand side mid-camp spawning. Rowe and Achita are in the area, but so is Adjust and Pain, as well as Chaos.
Still, man, so much gold already for enemy, and I think a big part of that in Avant's head right now is we have to get the first gold Fury. And with Rowe being down 2 levels, which is, I'm sure, a position he's not used to being in, it's going to be hard for them to control the left side of the map.
Biggie sitting at the lowest gold and XP per minute Rowe. Going up this 3-man group from enemy in the mid lane. He crashes down but doesn't hit anyone. There is the Tectonic Rift though. Adjust with a great ultimate. Chaos dropping the bombs. Rowe very low. Recall demons used by Chaos. Gets another kill. Biggie forced to get away. Achita just body blocking for the rest of his team. And despite Avant getting some decent initiations, enemies just turning on them every time with his Hunbats.
And that's what Adjust does. He forces you to adjust to him. And in that situation, again, Rowe thought he had the upper hand, but 2 levels behind, he gets taken down.
Adjust played that fight perfectly. He waited for Avant-Garde to really get sucked in on the Agni, and then he popped his ultimate for the counter initiation.
Go ahead, please.
There's a 2-level difference between the junglers at this point, and that's really big for Avant-Garde. In the pregame, we said Rowe is the star player, and for him to be this far behind this early in the game is trouble for Avant.
And check out Chaos, 3-0-2 right now, almost an 800 gold lead as well. This is going to put him in a position where he's getting those core items online, and if Zhang Kui intends to stack this game, we're not going to see that Warlock Sash get finished until like 16 minutes.
The strength of Zhang Kui is because he has a lot of protections, but this Agni is going to get his pin item online super early, a lot earlier than normal.
Look at that, it's already started.
Get blown up, yeah.
We got that magic focus going up. It's going to be Spear, I would imagine.
Definitely.
Speed buff taken away from Avant by a 3-man grouping of enemy. They know that Rowe is the player to focus down here on Avant.
Chaos in the mid lane keeping pressure. Left side, I'm not sure what this grouping is. Are they looking, they're pinging it out, or are they trying to go to the bottom side?
It's just, I don't know. 3 men of enemy in the mid lane,
I think
Cheetah
they're
and
just
Rose.
hiding. They're just hiding from enemy. They're so strong right now.
I mean, that fear, when you're a Zhonghui hiding behind the wall behind your tier 1, right? That's when you know things are bad.
Cheetah takes a couple of bombs there, but again, Zhonghui doesn't really feel it that much, so he's not going to really mind that, but he will know, and his team will know that 2 of those bombs are down for the next team fight. Just gets a kill onto Sporks. Nice gank over in the solo lane.
And that'll be a tier 1 as well, it seems. They're going to rush it right down. One more creep to stand. They'll tank up a few hits, but another 500 gold ladder right to the wall.
Gold Fury started, though, by Avantgarde. This is a good play. They know that Adjust is on the other side of the map, so that Fear No Evil isn't available. Cheetah, Rowe, Biggie, and Subfloor all grouped around this one.
Agni, though. Avant still takes it, but they're losing so many. Already Biggie, Rowe, and Sporks are down. They're chasing down Subfloor. Doesn't get into the Corporeal form. Another kill, and that's a double for Chaos.
It is 11-3. Cheetah running away. That is your giveaway trigger, folks. Enemy the first to 10 kills here, so we're going to see the code in just a second, and it is Durkane, but Soul Machine jumps in with the Eagles rally. Cheetah taken very low. Bombs from Chaos, but Pain Deviant picks up the kill with Athena.
The problem there with that fight is that the rule of thumb is if your solo laner gets ganked, the other side you go do Gold Fury.
Yo, God bless.
But it just communicated with his team, said, hey, I'm going to go gank solo lane, and you saw all the rest of enemy right on the Gold Fury ready to contest.
Going down to the tier 1, they're trying to make up for the lost Gold Fury, even though I'm pretty sure they already have with the kills. Tier 1 stands for now. They're going pretty deep here. Stuck in between.
Oh my goodness.
Forks go down. Credited with the double kill is Adjust.
Adjust is going ham this game. He is tearing apart Avant.
Mid lane tower still getting pressured. Again, looking for that 500 gold. We'll watch it fall and go to the graphs.
Taking a look now, we expect to see about a 5k gold difference between these teams here. Really feeling it though, especially I would say is the Hunter. Subfloor 500 gold behind, not terribly much, but just unable to do as much in these team fights as Vicium.
One of the things Avantgarde really need to do is get levels on their Thor. He's really strong with scaling. As we look into the XP difference here, 10k already at 10 minutes, or actually at 11 minutes.
That's, I think we're getting to the point now of no return. Like their next fight has to be a win. You know, we talked so much about Rogue going into this. He's the lowest level in the game right now. Level 8 compared to a level 10 or 12 Humbots. This is when Zatman is like yelling at the team in curse and spamming F6, right?
Definitely. What they really need to do now, though, is Avantgarde needs to group up as 4 or 5 and look for these picks. Maybe on Neath, maybe on Agni, who knows, whoever they can get.
Rose seems to be staying in these team fights just a little bit too long. He's going in as the initiation rather than Biggie, which is what we usually see. I feel like Ro perhaps is thinking to himself that he needs to carry this team and is just doing too much.
Well, he's level 9. He's beginning the catch-up phase. I mean, he needs to try to avoid fights, but unfortunately, over on the right side, Adjust is not giving him that luxury. Overhand smash going to be blocked out. Where we got an ult. Can it be blocked? Not in time. They're trying to turn this one around. Adjust has the Athena coming in, and they will spend a lot to get one more.
Spork's rotating in. There's a nice taunt, though, for Pain Deviant. Spork getting very low.
That's
Adjust.
good.
Super low. Recall Demons will pick him up. Actually, Sporks gets it while he's on his horse.
Biggie coming in from the backside. Little out of position here as he gets flooded. Bludgeon damage doing good. Subfloor here to try to control, but Biggie is getting annihilated.
Chaos is doing so much damage at this point with these bombs.
The thing is, these trades are actually good for Avantgarde because enemies' gods are worth a lot more golden experience than Avantgarde's are.
Look at this. Spears online. He's got cooldown reduction. Chaos right now, 507. Has been a part of almost every kill on the board. And you can see it in his damage. Let's actually go to the damage charts. Agni's got to be close to the top. It's Bologna? 8,000?
And then Adjust.
Bologna OP.
Soul Machine doing work. He showed up at Super Regionals and he's showing up again here at SWC.
Well, you saw the cinematic, right? She soloed the gold or the fire giant.
One shot the fire giant. I don't even know.
Those arrows were Nerf arrows. She's just dodging them all over the place.
We're 10 minutes, or rather 12 minutes in. We do have the Fire Giant available. I don't think it'll be for a while, though.
I love what enemy's doing. They're just grouping up here, not giving Avantgarde a chance to farm up and try to catch up back up into this game.
There's nothing left in the jungle for Avant to go for. Adjust has just been everywhere, taking everything.
To the sky, we have Thor. I don't think he's going to take this opportunity. Pain's low, but it will be a bait. Thor will likely land. No, he's going to go in onto Bologna?
Salt Machine. He was the only target by himself, but his team wasn't around to help him. Get some damage off, but it's not going to mean anything.
He's still at about 5,900 gold, third lowest right now.
They really need to stop looking for fights. Thor needs to split push, needs to get levels on him. He's been level 9 for about 3 minutes now.
I mean, this is the same thing we saw in the first game, right? We have a Thor with only a level 2 heavy mace compared to a full Jotun, but this Humbots has a level 2 crit item with short sword, meaning he has a 40% chance to crit.
Pretty much one-shot anyone on the enemy team.
We saw he was top damage. That's pretty much what he's been doing.
Golden hand right now. You'll see, actually, Zhang Kui sitting at about 1,000. Needs a bit more to finish up this Warlock Sash, about 200 left. Needs to get that stacking as soon as possible. They need every point that they can. At this point, I don't even know if I'd go to Warlocks. He might just need the E-Staff to stay alive.
This is the point in the game where Soul starts to really come online and do a ton of damage. Subfloor, though, sitting at second lowest in the game, needs to be in these team fights a little bit more.
Big E in some trouble. They're tearing into the shield, but not super quickly. Overhand smash will spell some damage, but Big E gets out safely.
Ro and Achita are here, and I don't know what they can really look for. Maybe they're going to try and defend this tier 1 tower, but the smart choice would be to go to mid lane.
This is the stage where Avantgarde need to cut their losses. Like, give up left tier 1, look to push maybe enemies tier 1, try to get some global gold, get some gold on all these gods so they can maybe win a team fight.
Salt Machine is in the mid lane. He's going to be able to rotate if there is a fight a lot quicker than Sporks, who's just starting up his blue.
Well, Gold Fury's up in 10 seconds. He's starting to get over to the left side. Let's actually take a listen with the enemy boys to see what's going to happen as they get the Gold Fury ready to go.
Yes, we do. I'm on the side here, keep it on. Oh, he's by himself with the... Okay. I'm waiting for creeps. Thank you very much.
Oh, look at Soul, look at
No,
Soul.
Gib's not there, Gib's not there. Best piece. That's the 4 piece and ages, 4 piece and ages. I need to get out here.
That's Soul's
Yo,
Thor.
Thor.
Throw near.
Careful here. Jump. What's on?
I gotta get out.
I need to get out. I'm gonna go back in. Just go to the rest.
Yeah, they're gonna change.
Let me go back in.
They're gonna heal though, that's the problem.
It's fine, we're good. Keep going.
I'm resetting.
They can't catch on us. Let me go back in. It's fine.
They're chasing Cruiser.
Okay.
They're going gold.
I'm ultimate. Get ready for it. I'm on sweaty.
And we're back. Avantgarde looking to start up the Gold Fury here. They know their enemy has to back, but we could hear their Pain Deviant saying he's going to ult in.
That, and we just got a teleport from Salt Machine as well. They're not going to be able to take this down. They're forced into a bad spot. Biggie already low, getting chased down. First casualty of this fight is going to be the support.
Ro nearly taken down there, but forced away. Enemy great defense of the Gold Fury there in response to Avant's great defense of their tier 2.
Oh, Sporks out of position. His dash is down. Nice shot from Subfloor, but a good taunt by Pain's going to spell another one. They'll pick up Sporks.
Enemy just, no matter what Avant is throwing at them, seem to respond with something doubly as effective.
That's one of the problems with Soul too. They really had no one to tank the Gold Fury. The Thor started off tanking it, and he almost died to it. And then they couldn't fight back when enemy contested.
To be fair, though, Soul also won that entire team fight to begin with. But there's the Gold Fury. She gets taken down. The gold difference extends quite sharply. I would imagine now 8,200 ahead.
Player damage again. Salt Machine sitting on top at 11,000 at this point. After that is Ochita with Zhang Kui. He's done some nice work, but it just hasn't been enough to carry his team.
Man, enemy's in a pretty good spot here. This is, again, going very similarly to how we saw Isurus versus Epsilon in the first game of the day.
I definitely want to see Avantgarde do what they did last fight on the left tower. They kited back is what they did. Instead of Thor engaging and just getting one shot by the Humbot Salt, they kited back. Zhang Kui got his full ultimate off on all 5 enemies, and Subfloor was able to get a lot of damage off, and they actually almost won that fight.
Adjuster's got his Deathbringer finish, so a lot of crit damage going to be coming out of that at Humbats.
Ro actually still on that heavy mace. Can we see golden hand, please? I think it's important to see how far away he is. Looks like Thor, he's about 100 gold. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
He has got a tier 3 walking aegis, though, at this point, so you know he's really feeling the damage from enemy.
That's a strange pick. We see a lot of teleports, a lot of different support items. We don't see many walking, Aegis pendants. Spork's in some trouble here, taking the World Weaver. He'll get out safely, heal up a little bit.
This can be an advantageous situation for Avantgarde here if they defend this tier 2 tower. The extra damage that tower provide will be necessary to win the team fight, because they can't just go in straight up and beat enemy.
The strength that Avantgarde's comp has over enemies is that they have Guan Yu heal. So the poke that they do to enemy lasts forever, when the poke enemy does to Avantgarde can be healed up.
Well, that's until enemy wins that Fire Giant fight,
yeah.
which kind of seems like it's going to happen. There's a 13 kill difference as we're going to see enemies start to work their way into this tier 2 tower.
Vishim a little bit behind what we would have wanted, a little bit behind where we'd expected to be. He's only level 14, so level 13.
Ro came in, didn't quite get much. He throws down the stun and the Mjolnir's attunement as well, missing both.
Job though, he got the Agni beads. Now Chaos is thinking to himself, oh man, I got to be extremely careful here.
He's backing up. We got an exposed evil. Slow coming out, forcing Adjust away. They're dashing towards the left side the whole time, though. Check out Bologna, the split push cam on the bottom left side of your monitor. You're going to see her taking a 1,500 gold win as the boys in blue a little bit too slow to make the call.
Ochita and Subfloor looking to pick up Salt Machine here, but the disarm is really effective against Sol, and Salt Machine doing a lot of damage to Subfloor, who's forced to get out of that one.
I love that play by Enemy. They said they can't really, they almost lost that 5v5 fight on the left tower, so they said, hey, we're going to split them up. We'll put our biggest guy in Bologna to split push, because not one single person in Avantgarde can 1v1 him.
I don't think 2 people can 2v1 him.
No, I don't think so either.
It looks like Salt Machine's going to continue staying in this mid lane as Enemy starts up the Fire Giant. If they take this, I don't think Avantgarde could come back.
The closest person is Ochita, and I don't think he even understands that this is happening. Vishim throws out the Whirl Weaver there just to try to control a little bit more space. Fire Giant at half.
The Bologna.
Salt Machine just 1v5ing at this point. Oh, Pain Deviant is there. That taunt. 5-man taunt, but Rowe gets a nice wall. There's the recall demon. Salt Machine 1v5ing, but down he goes to Ochita. You can see there, though, that Enemy has picked up the Fire Giant.
I got to call Worth on that one.
100% Worth.
And can we go to the damage charts? Because I'm sure Bologna just went right back up to
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Wow.
That's fine.
He's
Again,
balanced.
You saw the cinematic. That's the move that killed the Fire Giant.
Yeah. Avantgarde just recognizing the Fire Giant has been taken. They actually had a ward on it the whole time, so they knew it was being done, but they couldn't do anything about it.
I mean, what can they do, honestly? Like, if they went in there?
Yeah, look for Enemy to pick up their red buff here on Chaos, and then they're going to push down left lane and probably go for the win here.
So 12,000 gold advantage, 16,000 experience as well, with no level 20s on the board. We have a Book of Thoth coming out from Agni, so a huge damage spike, and plus already has that penetration online. Agni's going to be very scary at this stage.
The one saving grace for Avantgarde is that Subfloor isn't terribly far behind Vishim. If they could set up nicely for that soul damage, it'll be nice for him to get some damage off.
We've got a Polynomicon started up, it looks like, for Subfloor. He'll need some type of burst damage going into this. Oh, look at this Salt Machine teleporting in deep to the back line.
Yeah, and the Polynomicon is actually Soul's first real power spike, and he really needs to get that online before this next fight. If I was them, I would give up this tier 2 and look to defend the Phoenix.
Well, it doesn't look like they're going to do too much fighting for it. Rowe on the right side trying to take the ward down. He does, but he gets taunted, forced to beads to get out of that one.
Just has gone for some extra penetration here after his Deathbringer, so him along with Vishim are going to be doing a lot of damage to these towers.
Left side tier 2 to fall. We'll go back to the graphs again. You'll see another huge spike for Enemy. 13,800 here at the 21-minute mark.
Rowe in the mid lane, still level 12, 5 levels behind. He just hasn't had the impact in this game that he needed to really keep Avant in this one.
Russian, they're going right for this, man. Oh, look, Rowe, nice shield from Biggie. Remember, his bees were down. Good call by the support to get his jungler out of danger.
But Enemy knows that that's down now, so they can engage under this Phoenix without the risk of Geb shielding some CC. But Biggie blinks in, 2-man Cataclysm as Chaos actually feeds that. Biggie taken super low. Salt Machine gets the kill. Down goes Sporks to Vishim. Rowe crashing in. Ochita taken very low. Pain takes him down. Chaos.
That's 4.
Subfloor picks up a kill onto Adjust, but it won't be enough. Incorporeal.
They're looking for 5.
Take it out.
He's hit perfectly. Vishim with an absolutely flawless Spirit Arrow. My God. Australia falls along with their mid-Phoenix, and I'm sorry to say they're Titan as well. They'll fall to the loser's bracket. Enemy, I'm sure we'll have some cheers as they're going to keep moving on.
I'm so impressed with Adjust, right? He is so patient with his Humbot's ultimate. He waits for them to group up and gets about 3 or 4 man ults every time.
No one respawning except for Biggie in just a second here. The Titan to fall right in front of the support's eyes. The arena glows red in favor of Enemy. North America takes their first win.
This was expected, right? You know, Avantgarde was the international team with the biggest chance of an upset, and that was a lot closer than Isurus and Epsilon, but...
All right, Guy, with your Australia tie.
I mean, you know...
I can't wait for the other who's left? QG Reapers, right?
QG Reapers.
Oh, that'd be a good one. Against
Very
Fnatic.
Excited to watch them.
Well, now they've got some extra motivation.
They're the only ones left. Well, I mean, there's the lower bracket.
This is the loser's bracket.
So... from the very beginning, I think a lot of that came down to Biggie and Subfloor were on different pages. If either Subfloor backed up or Biggie went forward, I think that whole game could have been different.
Definitely, you can see Avantgarde's communication wasn't top-notch. On that gank on Neath, they did not chain their CC correctly. Neath was able to get a small window, get her backflip out, and then they got counter-engaged on.
That shockwave.
Yeah, it was too
a little bit late.
Yeah,
Soul,
a little bit late.
When I think of Subfloor, I don't think of Soul. I think more of a Ho Yi or a Jibalanka. He just, I don't know, man. It didn't seem to work out.
I don't know, man. That was good. Like, he got some really important stellar bursts in that game.
Yeah. Soul pretty much played a pretty good game. It was just the mid and jungle. The Agni Chaos was so impressive with how he rotated all around the map, getting kills, getting himself ahead.
I think Adjust, though, was the most important player of that game for Enemy. Just beautiful out of the jungle, set up so much for his team. Chaos did so much damage, but it was all off the back of Adjust.
But that's going to be it for Australia, at least for now. Enemy will move on. We're going to head back to the analyst desk with Golden Boy, Adonis, and the pros.
Thank you so much, guys. And wow, what a game for Enemy there. They look like superstars. Of course, you know, one of the big things that I had noticed at the beginning of the game was mentioned that we could potentially see the jungle matchup.
Yeah.
Right? That was supposed to be like the highlight per se, and you know, talking about Adjust and what he is capable of doing, pretty much shined in that regard.
I think just at the 3-minute mark was kind of the perfect spot where it's like, okay, this is going to be bad for Avant, because we saw Ro try and gank the duo lane, and the team committed really hard trying to kill Vedium on that Neath, but unfortunately they couldn't lock him down, and the team kind of wavered. You know, we actually saw Subfloor continue to go aggressive while the rest of the team was trying to back off, and then they spent so much time on that gank in the duo lane that Adjust was able to rotate over because Subfloor stayed aggressive while the rest of the team back off. First Blood went to Adjust, picking off Subfloor on that Soul, a god that you really want to be aggressive with early.
Yeah, and it wasn't just a First Blood. They got a 3-for-1 exchange off of Chaos, also lingering behind Adjust. So they were playing really well together, Adjust and Chaos. They always stuck together, and there was a point in time when they ganked the Thor behind the Tier 2 tower in middle. They were so aggressive because they were far ahead early on. They continued the pressure, knowing the fact that they also had the Athena support, that he can make those kinds of plays, Adjust, and he would have that backup from the Athena and Chaos always rotating on top of that.
Let's actually take a look at some of these post-game stats here. Anything in particular that highlights for you? I mean, you got to talk about Salt Machine on solo and the performance that he had. I guess also got to talk about our hunter over here, Vedium. He was one of the only guys that was actually communicating with Pain, right? It was a calm listening that we heard there, but pretty much just understanding that, hey, these are the people that need to be talking. These are the plays that need to be called.
Yeah, just Salt Machine did so much damage, but Pain makes the calls, and like he's really energetic. And I think Vedium is the one that's calm and makes like, oh, you gotta back off. It's too much. You should just back off and do Gold Fury or do objects.
Yeah, you kind of heard their Pain's like calling targets, going in, and Vedium's, he's making the audibles.
And a good thing that Enemy did was the fact that they baited out the Soul pick early on, and they put Salt Machine on a very comfortable, dominant god as Bologna. He was just able to dominate the Guan Yu matchup very easily. There was a point in time when Avant-Garde tried to gank the blue buff of Enemy.
Yep,
it failed, and Adjust was able to lock down Sporks there.
Again, you know, it's just Adjust, right? I mean, the dude was a superstar, and in fact, he is going to be our Intel player of the game, and it's because of plays like this, just such a talented player.
Yeah, and that First Blood there specifically was just after Soul stopped being immune. You know, her 3 actually gives her 3 seconds of immunity. It's basically like an Aegis. It's its own active, and just timing stuff so well. Adjust looked very strong, and this team as a whole, Enemy as a whole, they looked very clean, which is what we saw from Epsilon. You know, maybe they're not playing to that level yet, but Enemy could make a run.
I mean, you know, hey, anything can happen here. Right, anything can happen, especially as we go further toward, you know, the bracket. And keep in mind that, you know, for Enemy, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are writing them off, and that could end up playing to their advantage, right?
For sure.
And catching a lot of people off guard and doing some stupendous things, similar to what we're seeing right here. I mean, just Adjust was a force in this matchup. If you are any of these teams, you're looking at Adjust and saying, okay, that's a guy that we definitely need to shut down.
So it's definitely not Enemy style, the way they played this aggressive this early on. Usually their games last a little bit longer, and the fact that they were able to dominate this early on shows that they've changed their strategy completely 180. So a lot of teams have to look at Enemy now as a dominant threat early on. So,
how do you feel about Ro? I mean, you know, we got to talk about that because coming into this matchup, he's the star player of the game, QE, and just gets shut down.
He was doing well at the start. He was trying to make plays, and he almost worked out, but Enemy just had great counter engages.
Yeah, and got to go back to the communication. Because, you know, as we all know, right, this is a team esport after all, so you have to have that discussion, have to have that communication there. And General Pain, as you had mentioned before, right, he's the guy who's just making the calls. He's calling out the gods and saying who we need to go after, who needs to be focused on. That's huge for me.
That was some of the best comms I've heard from any Smite team in a while when we do these listen-ins. A lot of times it'd be chaotic, and even Enemy at the Super Regionals, they got a little chaotic sometimes. Obviously, it's much easier to make shots shot calls when you're ahead. When you're behind is when stuff starts to get crazy. But Pain was the only voice we heard. And then Vedium would call audibles to be like, this ability is down, Thor in the air, back off. All right, let's transition, let's go for Gold Fury. So right now, their comms are very good, and if they can stay this calm going into future matchups, Enemy, they're looking really good.
So if we actually think about the bracket here, they will face off against the winner of Fnatic and QG Reapers, and that is going to be our next matchup that we see here. If they potentially win that, they will move in to that round where they have to face off another member of the prelims. If they lose it, though, if they end up losing it, they go down to the bottom, and they have to face off against the winner of match 5.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting territory for them, because they could, if they lose this game against Fnatic or QG, right, depending whoever that pans out to, they will potentially face off against Epsilon.
And that's rough. That's what they really want to avoid. Both Fnatic and Enemy are, and QG, those teams are going to want to win that next round. They want to avoid Epsilon earlier, I'm assuming, and try and face someone over on the top side of the bracket, because Epsilon right now, I mean, you saw them. That has been the most dominating game we've seen so far in the first 3 matchups.
And then coming up next, we have Fnatic and QG. Gentlemen, thoughts in regards to that matchup?
Fnatic. All the way Fnatic.
Okay.
Fnatic.
Yep.
They won't place lower than 4th. They always place 4th or higher.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, guys, we will see how all this pans out, as our next matchup of the day will be Fnatic versus QG Reapers. Don't go anywhere, though. This is the Smite World Championships 2016, and so far it has been a heck of a show, and we're going to keep the good times rolling right after this.
The most consistent player in our team this season, I think it's probably going to be Salia. Always consistent, never really like having these bad games. Always the bad games, but he has always the potential to really make big plays anyhow, because he's such a good player. So I'll go Salia.
Creo que ese miembro es Betoni, porque la verdad que juega muy bien y tiene una cabeza muy inteligente y es buen líder y nos ayuda a todos a jugar bien y a mantenernos en foco.
I think Andenster, our jungler, has been the most consistent member of our team this year. Back a couple seasons ago, he had a nickname, Landenster, and that was he doesn't perform well on lands, he kind of chokes under the pressure, but recently he's been doing really, really good on that, and he plays really consistently, and he helps carry a team to victory.
Probably Pain. I would definitely say Pain. He always talks, he's always communicating, he's definitely always like teaching people things.
Most consistent member might probably Omega. Yeah, he always does his thing in solo lane, so me.
稳定的话，应该是我们中单流星，他本来实力就很强，而且他比赛也挺稳的，基本上把都能 carry。
For consistency, I'd say Maniac.
It's tough because we've had a lot of roster switches, so I would say Yannick's done pretty well throughout the whole time, and he actually went from support to ADC for a while, and he was doing pretty okay there too, so it was really good to see him being able to adapt and switch it up a bit.
Si tengo que elegir un compañero, puedo elegir a 2, porque realmente fueron muy buenos los dos. Creo que Noswell y Onur estuvieron en un nivel muy alto durante toda la liga, durante este torneo también. Creo que son 2 piezas fundamentales del equipo y pongo toda la ficha que ellos dos la van a romper en el mundial.
表现最为稳定的选手的话，应该是我们新来的选手打野位元气弹。
Probably Biggie, honestly. Always decisive in his shot calls. Always like has a positive mindset. Like has a plan like that. Always has like spot on shot calls.
Well, always nice standing here in the audience with none other than Schultz for Pain Gaming. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Now, MVP in your first match, you put in a dominant performance. That's got to be the start you were looking for.
Yeah, we took a comfortable peaks with China and we did our best.
Doing the best is exactly what we can ask for here at Smite World Championships. Did you enjoy that, guys? Now, you're definitely going to become a favorite if you play the way you've been playing. So what's next for you guys? How are you going to take the rest of the day?
Oh, we are plan
strategy before, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna play our best again.
Play their best, strategize, that's on the menu for the guys for Pain Gaming. Well, of course, you are representing Brazil. Does that feel a little bit like a weight on your shoulders?
No, I really like it. I'm living a dream being here and world champion in Smite, and I'm playing Smite in 3 years now, and it's awesome being here, representing Brazil.
Representing Brazil, living the dream. We love it. Guys, one more time, put your hands together for Pain Gaming. Schulzen.
Go Pain!
Now, of course, for the people that are right here on site at the Smite World Championship, you can head over to the Smite Expo area where we're doing a meet and greet with none other than HirezStudios employees, and throughout the day, there'll be lots of people there. I'm sure if you're lucky, Schulze will be there too. For now, we're going to take a very, very quick break, look at a nice little video, but we're coming right back with lots more action here at the Smite World Championship.
One of the most requested features, really since we launched Smite, was first to introduce gods for new pantheons, and the most requested pantheon was the Japanese one. So we're very excited to announce that beginning in January of 2016, we're going to be bringing a new god from the Japanese pantheon named Amaterasu. We wanted to give you guys a behind-the-scenes look at the work that's been going into our very first Japanese god.
Japan is known as the land of the rising sun, so as our first Japanese god, it's very thematic to incorporate Amaterasu, who is the kami of the sun goddess.
Amaterasu's design relied heavily on her being a leader. We saw her as being dignified, noble, virtuous, and strong. It was also very important for us to highlight the 3 key items from her lore: her sword, her necklace, and her mirror. The end result of the concept, I think, is a color scheme that evokes warmth and goodness.
She's the source of all of the Emperor leadership in Japan. So as a warrior with this lore twist, we wanted to make sure we focused on a very team-oriented aspect for her kit. Amaterasu has abilities that are pretty new and unique. One is her passive, which actually places a debuffing aura on the enemy that will stay on them and affect other enemies near them. So it's really, that's something we've never done before. She has a very unique, almost a stance switch, but not quite like any other stance switch we've had in the game yet.
We wanted to show off more of her weapon proficiency, so it was really fun kind of to dive into the Japanese lore and also the samurai aspect of the culture. When she goes to perform her nato, which is the sheathing of the sword, there's a very specific way where she has to actually holster the sword and then draw the blade to actually sheath it. It's very nitpicky, but we feel like it's appropriate since she is the first Japanese goddess.
We've been so excited about the launch of the Japanese pantheon that we wanted to do an event to help celebrate that. And we've had all these great ideas for Japanese-inspired skins. We have an amazing kaiju skin for Sobek, we have a new skin for Neith, and so many other awesome skins that we really just can't wait for you guys to see it.
The magnitude, like how many different gods and demons and spirits they have. Look out for some really strange shit coming up.
We've got a lot of great things coming out in 2016, and it all starts with the Japanese pantheon and the launch of Amaterasu, and we can't wait for you guys to get to play her.
All right, and some pretty cool stuff there coming to Smite.
Yeah, the Kaiju Sobek.
The Sobek skin is absolutely
But
amazing.
you switched roles. You're mid
but
now.
I'll play
you can't
a
play
mid.
it.
I'll
You gonna play a mid?
Why not?
Let's play him anything.
Reckless.
Anything mid.
Reckless, that's what you are. Of course, welcome back out of Raxian Incon. You guys had a nice break. I hope that break was fun.
It was amazing. Where was your break? Did you?
You know what? That hurts.
Yeah.
That hurts right to the heart.
We just look better. Golden Boy and I just look better, so they want to keep us on.
That is a bold-faced lie.
Come on, I gotta pretend, man. I gotta pretend. Back me up.
Well, you know what? What will make us look good, and here's where my professional transitions come along. Some bona fide clothing. That's right, folks. Pro transition. You actually can pick up bona fide clothing. Buy one, get one, 50% off of the Pantheon shirts, people. So
that's like half my wardrobe.
There you go. There you go. So. Well, yeah, I can only imagine. It's actually quite nice because those are the shirts that always fit me well. Everything else, it fits me big or fits me too tight. Bonafide, always right in the middle. In any case, so we have Hit Point as well, guys. Big shout out to those guys. Smite merch, you can go to smite.hitpoint.tv. Make sure you use that promo code HPSWC. You get 10% off of all that good stuff there. So again, big thank you to those guys for supporting this event. But you know what? We gotta talk about this next matchup, because we have a good one coming up here. I know there's just a lot of fun things. You know, we talk about all the good stuff that's coming to Smite, but we are at the World Championships, and we have a heck of a one coming up here.
It's 2 returning teams to the SWC. There's 3 teams that were here last year. They've come back. Of course, Cloud9, you know, the hometown heroes, the champions from Europe. Not SK, Fnatic, formerly known as SK Gaming, and then QG Reapers. So these 2 teams were here last year, QG and Fnatic, and they're here to face off once again.
Yeah, and you know, QG Reapers, I mean, these guys, they bring a lot to the table. You know, I think we saw quite a bit out of OMG that would lend us to believe that, hey, you know what, like, China's adapting, they're learning, but it's still very much Europe and NA dominated. And speaking of Europe on the other side, you're dealing with a very, very strong team of Fnatic, a roster that has not made any changes, which is absurd, because this is esports, and in esports, you change teams, like you sneeze wrong, you drop that player. That's just how it works here. So, Incon, over to you about the sustainability of this Fnatic team and how they've been able to hold it together for so long.
Yeah, one of the best things you can do, honestly, as a team is keeping the same members together. One of the best things about Envy, actually, as well, is our roster is one of the longest-standing rosters in North America. Fnatic has been around even longer than we have. They've had the same roster for such a long time. You build so much synergy, and you really get a lot of friendship built up between you, and the best thing you can do as a team is to be friends with each other. When you're friends, you play way better.
Now, a thing to note, though, is Ataraxia, you actually faced off against this team last year and gave them their 4th place finish. Thoughts about this squad this time around, and how do you feel about their chances against QG?
Well, Fnatic are, at the Super Regionals, I felt they had a very slow performance until they got to the wildcard match, which got them here against Eager. And then we saw a completely different Captain Twig than we normally do. He really went off. He got that team involved. He got the game going early, which is not Fnatic style. Fnatic like to wait until the team fights, until the late game, and then they really give it to the enemy team. And I want to see more of this Twig. I want to see Twig, who went crazy and really got the game going for Fnatic.
All right, well, speaking of Fnatic, let's go ahead and show you guys a little bit about this team.
Fnatic. Maniac. Captain Twig. Zeros. Badger. Real Tax.
All right, there is Fnatic, a team that comes with them a lot of clout and you know, potential. All right, well, let's go ahead and run through this one here and talk about the solo player. And Ada, we'll actually kick off with you, Maniac. That's one of the notes here is that he's a very loud player, very energetic player. Are you expecting that here on stage?
I love Maniac. I'm fully expecting to hear him just yell through, and we're going to hear him like he's so loud. He is one of the old school solo players. He's one of the few in Europe who really stuck to the NA style of playing warriors and frontlines the entire way through. So for EU, he's kind of the flagship solo in terms of tanky frontliners like the Omega or the Divio style.
Nice, very cool stuff. What about for you?
For me, Mania is that player that just gets in your face. For those that haven't seen him at a LAN before, that guy screams and yells when he gets excited. And when he gets excited, the rest of the team gets excited. You'll have reels in him going back and forth, screaming at each other, yeah, we're destroying them. And having that as an enemy team is very disheartening.
Well, I would have to say, hopefully we go into a listen-in, because I would love to hear that.
Crazy.
Yeah, I can only imagine, right? That'd be some pretty cool stuff. Now, Captain Twig in the jungle. You know, we could potentially see Thor out of him, a variety of jungle picks, but how do you feel about this guy?
You know, Captain Twig and Zyros specifically lane swapped in the middle of Season 2, and it's benefited Zyros more so than Captain Twig, but, you know, Ataraxia was talking about it earlier. Captain Twig, he has stepped up his game near the end of Season 2, and specifically at the Super Regionals, played phenomenally against Eager in that wildcard matchup, but he's not always playing at that level, so which Twig are we going to see?
Well, I think Twig, he has always been very good. I don't want to undersell him, but he plays a very selfless style of jungle in which he will take the frontline gods or the setup gods and get not so great KDAs, and he's more behind the scenes. And at Super Regionals, we saw a different kind where he just, you know, I'm going to be the star, I'm going to get these kills, I'm going to get everything going. So, you know, if he doesn't go for that style, that's fine. It's the way Fnatic have always played. But for me, that's what I really want to see, because Twig is a fantastic player, and he doesn't always get the recognition he deserves.
Honestly, too, this roster is so strong, and it's interesting because people used to say that Badger was the weakest member of the team for a very long time. It was widely considered that he was the weakest member, and he's actually kicked it up this season and played extremely well in the support role. And honestly, I'm very proud of him as a fellow support back in the day. He has played so well, and now people are looking towards Captain Twig on being the player. They don't know if he's going to show up or not, and so it's really awesome for Badger to step it up this season.
Speaking of Badger, let's actually go ahead and talk about him. A very aggressive player, as you mentioned, kind of evolved since that time. Adonis, over to you here. You know, I guess, how do you feel about Badger's influence on this team and his improvements, as Incon had pointed out before?
You know, he stepped it up. He was the guy back in Season 1 that anytime he rotated into the jungle, he was dying. He was getting picked off, and it was like, that was what people game planned around this Fnatic lineup was, well, we'll just wait till Badger rotates and we'll pick him. This time, he's the one looking to pick off other players. He's the aggressor. We'll play anything under the sun. That's the thing, too, with Badger, is he has a very deep COD pool. He will play those aggressive gods like Ares and Bacchus, which I think he's better at, but he's also willing to play the Gebs and the Athenas, the more supportive style, to make sure that, you know, Reels and Zyros and his carries stay alive.
So you played Ataraxia against him quite a bit. Was that the case? You know, wait for Badger to rotate and then just pick him off?
You know, at one time or another, that is, you know, he did have a bit of a dip. But he, as you know, as Incon said, he has really stepped up his game. I think he's always been pretty good. He got a lot of flack they didn't deserve, but you know, as he did get picked in the jungle a few times. But no, he is much better now, and you know, I don't think we'll see that. I would be surprised if we see Badger get picked in the jungle alone.
All right, and then we have Zyros to talk about, playing in the mid. You know, a great early game carry player for his team. You know, we kind of been highlighting mid quite a bit, actually. I think I'll go over to you, Incon, for that one. Why don't you shed some light on what we could see out of him?
Zyros is, in my opinion, one of, if not the strongest mid laners in the entire world. Yeah. He plays so consistently well. And look at that guy. That is a scary man right there. He will give you the death glare, and he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet in person, which is the funniest thing. No, but he is one of the strongest mid players in the entire world, and no matter what he picks, I expect to see incredible work out of him.
And we haven't talked about this guy yet, but we got to talk about Reels, the hunter, the one and only.
Reels is the man in not only just Fnatic, but you know, Europe. This guy has been not only one of the best hunters in Europe, if not the best, sorry, Ataraxia, but one of the best in the world for since 2013. I mean, he's been laning with Badger since 2013, right? This roster made no roster swaps, you know, for 2 years, but their lane has been together for, I believe, 3, if not more. I mean, they are so comfortable with each other in Reels. He is the player that Fnatic looks to when the game goes late. Fnatic is that team that, you know, they're not going to really look for aggression early. Sometimes they do, but typically their game style is very late game oriented, and they throw everything on Reels, and he will always perform.
Reels is the shot man, really. I don't know who actually does the shot calling, but to my understanding, I believe Reels is a big part of it, because Fnatic, you often see them when they play their games, they just stall it out and they farm and they get to the team fights, because Fnatic, if any team is going to be known for their team fights, it's Fnatic. I would say they are arguably, you know, the best in the world, best in Europe at least. So really, what we expect is Reels to just farm, play it safe. He never gets ganked. He just waits and waits and waits. And when he gets his 4th, 5th item online, then he gets the team together and he pushes them down. He tells them where to go and he carries. He is the strongest example of a hyper carry hunter player in Smite, in all regions, in my opinion.
He's like one of those players, and you faced off against him, right? So I'm almost certain that for you, he's like one of those guys where you're like, I really don't want to face this guy. Right?
It's a bit scary, you know. I enjoy a challenge. I'll play whoever the best is, but Reels late game team fights, you really have to watch for him. He's going to sneak around and start destroying your team.
All right. Well, speaking of, you know, who needs to be careful about Reels, we got to talk about QG Reapers, a team that has also, you know, claimed the title of a returning squad from last year's Smite World Championships. Let's take a closer look.
Shall go Reapers. Casa. Juan. Knight. Aya. Master Lu.
there's QG Reapers. And before we actually talk about the members of this team, there's one person in particular that we have to talk about, and that's Knight. Knight last year had some crazy plays as Anubis, and both of you guys, you both seem really giddy to talk about Knight. So, you know, Adonis, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Incon, because, you know, I do want to get the insight from a mid player, but Adonis, you just seem like you're going to burst out of the chair.
You know, China came last year having only had the game for a couple months, and, you know, it was kind of like, all right, what's China really going to do? How good are they? And, you know, their teamwork wasn't really that great. They didn't really have the same meta North America and Europe had, who had played the game for, you know, 2+ years, but what they had were fantastic mechanics, and Anubis has always been that god that does so much damage, some of the highest burst in Smite, but he's so dangerous to play as a mage, and no one is ever willing to bring him out. And then Knight comes out, and he's just destroying with Anubis. Obviously, you know, QG Reapers, Doja's dog last year, they lost, but it was just so electrifying to see how good they were and how willing, you know, that squad was to play these crazy picks.
I think he also played in the show match, right? What was it, Allied versus Zimstar, which was kind of hilarious. All right, over to you, Incon. How do you feel about Knight? Do you think we're going to see something crazy like that again, or you think maybe goes back to his Zeus and plays that a little bit?
I expect to see the Anubis coming out of Knight again. That was the pick that he came out with that everybody was looking towards. I actually had an opportunity to play with him during that show match you were talking about, and it was incredible that even with the language barrier on the team, he still knew exactly where to be for shot calling at all points during our game, which I'd like to think contributed to why we won. So shout outs to Knight.
All right, but here's the thing, though. You know, you talk about his ability to react to those call-outs, but at regionals he was a little weak on his rotations, which is something that you had noted, Adonis. Do you think that? I mean, I'm hoping that he would have kind of corrected that wrong.
Hopefully. I mean, the team as a whole, the individuals are so good, and I would say, I would very likely argue that they were better individually than the OMGB squad that we saw earlier, but their teamwork was just very offbeat, a very big mess, and, you know, the enemy mid laner is over ganking dual lane, and he's doing back harpies, and you can't do that, so it's going to be important for Knight to try and step up his rotations in this matchup.
Yeah, maybe his rotations are actually suffering because he's so used to playing Anubis. You know, Anubis doesn't rotate. People come to Anubis, so you know, maybe that's the secret. Maybe Knight just needs to play Anubis, and then the game revolves around him.
So then, moving forward with the rest of the players on this team, we got to talk about Yun Chidai, or just Yun. You know, he probably could be the best player in China, potentially. One of, or you know, and of course we don't know the true potential yet. But Ataraxia, we'll start with you. You know, I guess, you know, that's quite something to live up to, right? To be a player of that magnitude. I mean, you know, you're going to see these players over the next couple of months and years potentially just become phenomenal at this game. And to kind of have that title right now is pretty shocking.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's there is definitely a lot of hype around this guy. He is rumored to be the star player of the team. So, you know, everyone associates the Asian teams in other MOBAs with very high skill cap and mechanically amazing. So to hear that the star player might be the jungle is really exciting for me. Maybe we're going to see some excellent Thor play that could rival adapting. So really, for me, I just want to see some high skill cap jungles come out of this guy and really see what he can do.
Yeah. What about for you, Incon?
For me, I agree the same thing. This is the kind of guy that you want to see come out and pick those difficult-to-play characters because he's so mechanically inclined. I would actually love to see a Neja out of him, but I think we might even see some Neja support today. So maybe he won't be able to get his hands on the Neja.
All right, exciting stuff indeed. And then Mikasa and the solo. Let's talk about him now, because again, you know, these are players returning. They've played here at the Cobb Energy Center. They've felt the vibrations and the energy from the crowd. This is a new opportunity for this team, and although they came in second in their group over here, still, I would think a lot of people are familiar with them and feel confident in this team's ability based off of what we saw last year, and they've only had a year to get better. Adonis, we'll go to you on that one, and then we'll kind of break down the other two players real quick.
Mikasa, very standard picks that we're seeing, you know, like most laners, nothing crazy from him. I think we're going to be seeing some pretty tanky frontliners.
Now, Incon, you mentioned the Neja support. That will be from IF, potentially?
That would be potentially from IF. So me personally, I'm just wondering if he's going to play Sylvanas or if he's going to play Neja.
That was a bad... That's a bad pun.
Everybody gets one.
That's a face palm, if I've ever seen one. Fail fish. All right, and then we have Ataraxia, Master Lu. You know, just an aggressive player here. Is that what you want to see going up against Fnatic?
Yeah, he runs kill lanes with If, is my understanding. And I was talking to Zapman on the way over here, and he said he was watching these games back last night, and he was really impressed with how good this guy was. He was hitting all of his shots, and they were getting, you know, a lot done in the lane, even though they lost the series at the regionals. So for me, Master Lu, I think we could see something crazy come off in dual lane.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to be the breakdown of our two teams, but now it is time to toss it over to the stage and get things ready for this matchup. It's going to be a good one. Sean, take it away.
Thank you so much, Alex. How's everybody doing?